Happy Friday. Hello, everybody.
Hello, hello.
Hey, let's get through our hellos and we'll get rolling. Farm Ranch Homestead was the first one in here tonight. Good evening to you. And the Banquet of Consequences was right behind. Good evening to you, Gizmo. Gizmo says thumbs up complete. Thank you very much. Those thumbs up help because it, again, shows people and helps show it to more people. And the more people we get involved in community and the more people we get involved in the movement, I think the better off that we are. So thank you for that. Rickster, good evening to you, bud. Get down here, Gizmo. TB, hey, good evening to you. I got a comment I've got to respond, I think, from you on one of the videos I haven't gotten to yet. Randy Edens is in the house, and I had read this earlier, but just so that I read it again, he says, good evening, Tag and B. I haven't been able to listen in much in the past few months. My wife had pancreatic cancer, and she lost her battle last evening. Thank you guys for the prayers. Randy, I can't tell you how sorry I am, bud. I don't know, anything about you, but I imagine, that it'd be if I had lost my wife, my life would be incomplete. And, I would feel incredibly lost and wondering what it was all for and just all of these crazy things. And I'm so sorry for your loss. And we're going to continue to pray for you. That I know you never recover. That wasn't the right way to say that you get through. And again, I'm super sorry, Randy. Super sorry.
Yes.
Yep, Vicky Pullen's in the house, which that means Private Cluck's probably in the house. Yep, somewhere in the famous Eagle Lover, Texas. Good evening. Dana Greed, good evening. Get down here. Janine, good evening to you. Hey, my buddy Gypsy's in the house. City Greens is in the house. Let me see here. Louise Wesley says, we were talking about, I was waiting on you. And she says it was the dinner company that wouldn't leave. We had dinner with Louise tonight and just had pizza and hang out and chit chatted. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, I loved it a lot. Hey, Rod, good evening to you, my friend. Of course, the Terminator's in the house. Good evening to you. Hey, we might have found a Kansas Terminator. I'll explain in a little bit, but we found someone to line up with you pretty good. And the famous Faith K is in the house. She says, if I'm quiet, I'm trying to finish eating. Yeah. Beth Emily, good evening to you. Helen, good evening to you. Jouchi? Joche. I don't know why I always struggle with that. I do, don't I?
Yeah.
I don't know why I do, but. Yep, Drummondson Live's in the house. LJC is in the house. And this one's important, too, because we're going to talk about community tonight. And we did a community event on Saturday, and LJC was there. And, she gives me a lot of hell and tortures me a lot. And I got some footage that I'm hopefully going to be able to return the favor.
She doesn't give you enough. It needs to be more.
Yep. One more rock. Good evening. Yep. Gizmo. I think I said good evening. I think so anyway. Hey, Jesus is in the house. Good evening to you. Jules, good evening to you. Skanes girl. Helen, I think I said that one already. Jen Botho. Good evening to you. Mary Michelle is in the house. Kelly Ireland. I just talked to you a little bit ago. Good evening. Dorothy Holloway, good evening. Silver Lining, good evening. And Dave and Sonia in Michigan, good evening. Gratitude and Grace, happy you're here. Hey, the notification came through. That's good. I get lots of emails and texts that say I didn't get it. And I don't know how it all works, but I don't know. Debbie Reed, good evening to you. Kelly Ireland says prayers for Randy. Yeah, everybody send prayers.
Yes.
To Randy. It's got to be super hard. I've never experienced it, so I can't even begin to testify to what that is, but we'll be praying for sure. Steve Hall, good evening. The beautiful MJ in Wisconsin's in the house. Big kid. What's going on, buddy? Squatchy. There's my buddy Squatchy's in the house. Mandy Garrett, hello.
I don't think you can say that without saying it like you say it.
What do you mean?
Squatchy.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's Squatchy. And it's been Squatchy for 2 years now. So he was one of our early subscribers, and I've always just called him that, and we're just going to continue to call him that. So Grateful Heart Ranch, Carrie Davis. Hello. Our buddies Life with Mike and Jen. Those are some fabulous
Thanks
people.
for the new video.
Yeah. Thanks for the new video.
Yeah, we got to see your garden.
Oh, got it. I didn't know what she was talking about. Yep. All American Preppers in the house. Good evening to you, bud. And the greatest name on internet.
Half of them
is in the house. Tringo, good evening to you. Yep. Glenn Broner, good evening. I think I'm to the bottom almost. Yep. And we'll just finish up with, wrong one. Oh, American Roots is in the house.
Hello.
Yeah, they're awesome.
Hello,
Absolutely
friend.
Awesome. Yep. Let me see here. It says, doesn't look like the storm is going to let me stay. Service is out more than in. Well, we'll take you for as long as we can get you, big kid. Right?
Yep.
So you want to start with the community day, or do you got something else you want to talk about? What do you want to start with?
I don't even have the community day on my list.
Oh my gosh, it was such a big part of our week.
My week has been jumbled. It's getting darker faster. And
yes, it is.
It's getting lighter later, and I'm all
discombobulated.
Yeah. And then there's just been so much going on, going here, going there. You're not here as much, and I'm doing more.
I'll bet you this week.
In my arm, it's so weird. It hurts going down one way, but not the other way.
It's from lack of baking. You got to keep that core muscle strong.
Did it look red? It doesn't look red at all. Why is it so bothered?
Let's start with the community day.
Sorry, go ahead. Yes.
Okay. Instead of my elbow hurts.
My elbow. It's not my elbow.
I love
Sheesh.
you. So Saturday was a huge day for us. So you guys, we work inside the community all the time. I mean, last week I probably visited. Yeah, I probably went to 6 or 7 homesteads last week to help with something. Along the way, and some of them more than once. During the weekends, we have a lot of these get-togethers where it's like me and one guy, or B and one gal, or a couple, or whatever. But we did a homestead rotation on Saturday, and this is where a whole bunch of people come together to, accomplish a big goal. And let me see, one more rock says, B, it's all that concrete work. You got concrete elbow.
I don't know. It just hurts.
Yeah. Anyway, so we went and did this homestead rotation. And so basically we showed up, and there was a basement sitting there, and we had already built the floor. You guys had seen that in my last video, how we put the floor up. But that goal for the day was to get all the walls up. And so a whole bunch of people stood up, and, it's interesting looking back at the event, and, B went around and asked everybody, most everybody, why they were there. And so she got an interesting testimony from all of them, which, by the way, guys, I have a video coming out. I don't have it finished edited yet because it was 6.5 hours worth of video that she shot in a 9-hour day. And so I had to get, it's a lot to kind of get through it. But anyway, it was interesting to listen to people say the reasons why we're there. A lot of people said community. A lot of people said friends and family. A lot of people said just to help out. A lot of people said they wanted to learn something. I mean, there's a lot of different answers in there, but I think what's really interesting about it all is that we were really there to learn how to work as a team, in my opinion, because it's not easy. And, as time wears on, and as the world continues to crumble, and society continues to erode, and the families continue to erode, and all of these things continue to happen to us, those skills of working together to stand a barn, or to put up firewood, or to do those kinds of things, how we manage through an event, how we manage through things that don't go well, how we manage through the weather, how we do those kinds of things, I think will really help us, kind of in the long term.
We get to know each other also.
Yeah. Hey guys, just got back from checking on the house I'm having built in northern Florida. It is now dried in, so won't be long, and I'll leave the city for the country. Good job. So I thought I would share with you guys, if you guys don't mind, some pictures of just kind of the community. Now, keep in mind, guys, I have a whole video coming out, and I edited her 6.5 hours already, but I need to go shoot a couple more places that weren't very good. So I'll get that done hopefully tomorrow, and then I can put well, babe.
What do you mean that wasn't very good?
Nobody's perfect 100% of the time.
I'm a professional videographer.
Oh yeah. Yeah. One of these days I'll put out a video she shot without editing.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Yeah. So anyway, I thought I'd share some pictures with you guys, and we could kind of talk through this a little bit. And so these are all very random pictures of the day. These are just walls going up, and these are all amazing people. This is a husband and wife, carrying a sheet of plywood to put on a wall. Here's this is Darren right here from Hacks from the Homestead, and he's just trimming off a little piece of plywood down at the bottom. Yep, here's more of it. These are more walls that had gone up on the outside. That's me right there in the cut table and just trying to feed him. It was pretty cool. So when we got there, I got assigned to be the cut man. And so I was going to sit at a table basically all day, and they gave me a complete cut list, everything that needed to be cut. And so I just pretty much spent the day cutting. B spent the day.
Is that normally how you do it? Like you get, if you're on a crew like that, you get a cut list, and then you just zip through that, and then your job is done. You go home.
Well, I mean, I don't know what normal is. I know what normal is for me. And
well, I mean, back in the day when you were a cut
Yeah, when I was
table
framing,
guy.
when I was doing that for a living years and years and years ago, we didn't have that. I stood at
You
a
didn't
table.
have a paper.
No, we stood at a table and the guy yelled measurements to me all day.
Oh.
And whatever he yelled to me, I made and gave
so
him.
he's measuring them as
he's building
going.
them. Yeah, or he's reading off a blueprint. You know, as he's lining up a wall and he's yelling at them as we go. But this one was nice. I had a provided cut list, so I pretty much could just stay there and cut. Now, typically in this particular job, I would either be running the crew building or I'd be on the cut side. I prefer to cut. So it was super, super nice, but I got to spend, again, most of the day.
What's easier? Is the cut table easier because you don't have a whole bunch of people you're like, no, you screwed that off wrong or nailed that off wrong?
Well, they're all easier for some reasons, right? I mean, they all have their strengths, you know, kind of in their weaknesses of what.
Oh, so there's not an easy position?
No, it's the you get to run around more, you get to gossip more, you get to talk more, you get to build camaraderie more on the build floor because you're interacting with everybody.
More people.
But on the cut table, I'm kind of standing in one location, you know, just standing there all day making cuts. So I think it has its positives, you know, and its negatives. Let's see if there's anybody else in here I got to say hello to. Dana Green, good evening. Tringo, good evening. I think I already said that. Anyway, let's look at the next picture here. So again, here's the wall. That's Indiana Mike and Mo over there, and that's all standing over there. We ate pizza for lunch, so it was pretty cool. So we got through that. Again, here's standing some wall, cut table. Again, just pictures of the community day. And again, you guys need to watch the video because it's pretty cool. I think it is. Yep. That's applesauce. And there's Grumpy Acres, the guy in the blue shirt with his back to you. And they're standing up that was the first outside wall that we stood up that day. Let me see if I can remove this, make sure I'm at the
Did you take those pictures?
So these are all pictures that came out of the videos that I just took snapshots, you know, of and just saved so that when we went live today, you know, everyone would, you know, would have, you know, just could kind of see it.
Did you take that picture because you have sexy legs?
Do I have sexy legs? Are those my legs? Look at that.
Yeah, those are your legs, aren't they?
Yeah,
they are. Of course they are.
Yeah, something like that, right? Yeah. Okay.
Showing off your legs.
Yeah. Let me see here. Jules says, hey, Tag, if I bring a ton of supplies to the festival, will you help me build a truck bed camper tiny house since you're so handy? Yeah,
No.
Problem is at the festival, Jules, there's way too much going on. Way too much. And I've got some speaking things I got to do and some things that they've asked me to do. And so you guys know I play no role in the management of the Midwest Predators Project.
Right.
None.
And there's
Zero.
some other things going on that you don't know exactly when and how long you're going to be there.
Right.
So.
They ask me, will you do this? And I usually comply, or will you sponsor this? And I will comply. But so you guys know, I don't have anything to do with the management of it.
Yeah.
Next picture here's there's some more. So we had gotten during the day, we had started building.
You can see the cloud, the sky.
Yeah. And the rain came. And so the first picture on closest to B and I, or at least what I see close to be, you can see the water still on the floor. That's after we finally got back to work, you know, standing them. But it was pretty cool. Oh, look at that. My phone was ringing. Dang it. Yep, I think I got them all. Okay, so anyway, there was the Homestead Rotation. You guys will have a video out this next week where you guys can actually watch it. It was really, really cool experience. And not everything went like
planned?
Well, not necessarily like planned, but not everything's easy. And there's a lot of reasons for this. You know, it's when you work off of a set of engineering plans, it's really cool because it's a whole plan. But you have to understand that there's variances. So not all 2x6s are 2x6s.
Which is the weirdest thing.
Well, they're just not.
Then why do they call them a 2x6?
Well, and they're actually not even a 2x6. They're 1.5 by 5.5. But the thing is that 5.5 or that 1.5 also have variances. They're not all equal. And so you've got to be able to adapt a little bit along the way. And so we have to go through some of that stuff. And when you get someone who's building a house, who's never built a house, those things can be concerning, right? And so it takes a little bit of time to kind of go through that a little bit. But it came out fine. This house is square, plumb, and line. It is strong. It is built well. Everything's in. It is ready to go. The next step for this house will be they'll spend the next week or so doing what's called a punch list. So they'll go through and put top plates on and cut floor plates out and, you know, fix any of the little things. And they'll go through all of that. And then we'll have Homestead Rotation 2 at this location. And we'll boom the roof. We'll put the trusses on. We'll put the plywood on and all of that and help them try to get weather tight. Once we get that house weather tight, they're probably done from a Homestead Rotation perspective for the year.
They're on their own.
And we'll be on to another building or another house or another barn as they work through the inside through the winter, you know, until we get it into the next system. Let me get back up here. I missed all kinds of comments. Friday, but it was time to shut down. No, I forget what it was. Okay. Let me see here. Brett says, Tag, you're using the zip system. So am I. Yeah, that's not my house. I'm just helping a buddy do it. But yeah, that's what he's using.
Yeah, I've not played with that system before, but it makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. I tell Mike, if you are what you eat, then you must have had sexy breasts for breakfast.
Beast.
It's blurry. Had sexy beast for breakfast. Oh, well, breast was good too. I would agree with the breast comment.
Why'd you put the other glasses on?
Yeah, it's okay. Let me see. Brett says, did you spray foam? I don't know what they're going to use for insulation. I haven't asked that question, what they're going to use yet, but they're going to use something.
They'll use something. I'm sure.
I just don't know what. I haven't.
Something for insulation.
You know what, guys, for me, it's because it's not my house. What I'm focused on is what I'm there to help them with. I don't really get beyond that. If they ask, I'll help them. But I would imagine they'll use bad insulation. I would guess. I don't know that they're going to spray foam it, but I'll have to ask.
But they may.
Let me see. A 1.5 by 5.5 finish size. It shrunk many times over the years. Yeah, well, it used to be 2x4 or 2x6 in this case, right? And it shrunk and shrunk and shrunk and shrunk and shrunk. So you just plan for it. And there's a lot of other things you guys can do when you're building that makes life easier, especially if you're not super experienced. You know, we talked about this a lot on the build site. You know, building with screws allows you to make a lot more errors because you can take things apart a lot easier, right? For example, I like to build, if I'm going to build, like when we build a community building, you guys will see I won't frame in any of the windows or doors until after the building's up. Because what that allows me to do is get the house in tight, the building in tight, get everything in, and then I can start working on it a little here, a little there. And I don't need a ton of help to do those jobs. What I need the help on is standing the walls and putting the roof on, right? I don't need the help on cutting a window. I can do that myself, you know? Rod says, can't ask for more than square and plumb. Yeah. Oh, it was a great experience, guys. And these people are great people, and they've really come into our community and, you know, blended super, super well into the community. Everybody loves them. You know, they're super popular. They're super helpful. Anybody needs help, they're the first one to be there. So it was an honor to be there for them and to help them.
Stress out.
Yeah, stress out. B, thanks for bringing us along through your pictures. Can't wait for the video. Yeah, she did a great job of filming. It was really cool.
I felt pretty worthless, though, because I felt like I should have been swinging a hammer.
Yeah, you said that. But here's the thing is that building community takes a lot of pieces. And without you walking around and filming all day long, I can't share that video with all these people. And so that's playing a very important role in the big picture why we do it all.
That's what you said.
It might be the most important role
I
of
just
all,
feel like I could have been more helpful.
Well, you could always be more helpful, but yeah. Crooked Little Homestead says, so Tag, you're saying that's why anything I build is crooked. It's because the lumber is not always true. Boy, I thought it was just me.
Nope, not you.
No, it is all over the place. Everyone's laughing at me. I don't blame them. Time for new glasses, Tag. I like the breast comment. I thought it was perfectly fine and acceptable. Just saying.
Made sense.
Yeah. What a way to start the day, right? Right? To misquoting beast and breast. I did it. I'm a guy. Can't help myself, you know.
Difference.
Yeah. Tringo says sexy beast. Laugh out loud. Hey, there's Indiana Mike. What's up, bud? Half Bubble Off Plum says, I love seeing these community builds, and I thought we were doing good to finish getting the perimeter fence up. You are doing good. You know, some of these homestead rotations, like last year, we did one at my house where we did firewood, and then we did one at Grumpy Acres where they did firewood. This one happens to be a house, but there'll be many more to come, and there'll be houses, and there'll be barns, and there'll be fences, and there'll be firewood, and there'll be harvesting, and there'll be, you know, because it doesn't really matter. It's about us getting together. It's about us building our trust in each other and our faith in each other. And because trust is hard these days. I don't know if you guys have noticed or not. You know, what do you trust that you see anymore? Right? Trust is becoming harder. So that means we have to earn it more, which is super, super difficult. Big Kid says, good night. I can't keep a signal for more than a minute. Well, you can watch a replay, bud, but good night.
Good night. Stay safe.
Yeah. Let me see here. Brett says, using the zip with the spray foam, I went from a 3.5 ton to a 2 ton. Oh, cool. Super cool. You have the instigator. I think he's distilling. Hey, Rhonda, good evening to you. But anyway, so what'd you get out of the community about? What'd you think about the whole thing?
I was just fascinated how fast it went up. And I think that one was 2 days, I guess, because I didn't go back the second day, but the first day, having the majority of the walls up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm used to you and I building.
Mm-hmm. We goes pretty fast.
And
we built pod 4 in 4 days, you and me.
This one up in a day and a half.
There was 25 people there.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it went up really fast. And I think that too, that if it was more organized, it would have gone faster, because there was a lot of standing around.
Well, I mean, I think the important thing to know, though, is that these events, babe, aren't just about building a house or doing firewood. It's a big social event.
No, and right? Well, and learning too, because Applesauce was standing there showing how to measure out and mark and then X where the studs go, and and to explain that to 4 people, you have to
There's a lot
talk
of
it through and then answer questions, and then he's yelling out a measurement and we're all going, no, I don't know where it is. So
yeah, it was neat though, guys. There was every different skill level there. There were people there who had never built anything, and there was people there who had built many things. Yep. And we have a good mix of all of that. And there was so much that went right. There was some stuff that obviously, we can do better on, and that we'll get better at, as the community again hones that skill of working together and understands where the best butt is for the right seat. I mean, there's some of that goes on. And so we're still learning to work as a team. But I thought it went great. We did not have a lot of hiccups. There were some things I went back on a couple days later and helped with some of the little boo-boos, like, for example, a plate not lining up correctly or whatever it was. But it was all easy. I mean, we spent maybe an hour and it was all fine.
Nothing was traumatic. Nobody got, 2 people bled.
Yeah, that was them.
But it was no big injuries.
No big. And there was one guy who was holding the 2x6 too close and shot the nail gun and shot himself in the finger, which, by the way, we have on video. Not him actually shooting himself in the finger, but what happened thereafter, because Bee ran over there like the busy little bee that she was, and we got that on video.
I got him staining the brand new concrete.
Yeah, you know what? Those are battle wounds, though. But
spackling his DNA all over the.
Yeah, this particular guy said that he's leaving here that day with a lot more skills than he walked in with. Which, I mean, what else can you really ask for, right? Is that we just kind of continue to grow.
Yeah, it was great though. I thought it went well, and there were, to have that many people, even if there were people that were standing there were people that were there because. Yeah. We were there together.
Yeah.
And I think that is fascinating.
Yeah. One of the other things I think is really neat is, the people that we built this house for, or that we all went there to, are fairly new to the community. They're not, they haven't been here 10 years or anything like that. They're fairly new, but yet they've been so accepted by everybody around here. Like they're just part of the elders. And it's weird to think of it kind of like that.
It's because they're old.
Is it because they're old?
They're younger than we are.
He is old. She is young and beautiful. Don't.
Yeah, right.
That's it.
Right.
That's the only answer there, right?
Well, I can say she's old.
I guess you can. I can't.
She's younger than I am, though.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. So, but great experience. Again, we got most of the exterior walls up, most of the interior walls up on day 1. Day 2, they finished that up a little bit. And then again, I went out there and just helped them get through it a little bit. And I'm looking forward to both the video coming out. I'm looking forward to your guys' comments. I'm also looking forward to the next step, because we'll go out there and boom the roof and, get in on it. And once we get that on, they're really getting pretty weather tight. I mean, there's some roofing that needs to happen and some doors and windows that need to happen in order to really get it in. But very quickly, they'll be at a place where if they didn't get anything else done the rest of the winter, they'll be okay.
Yeah.
They can get inside and work, and they can run insulation.
Their investment is covered.
Their investment is covered. And, it's interesting to me how it can be. Moving into this lifestyle is so hard because, like many of us, these people invested everything. They took everything they had to be able to pull this off, just like B and I did.
Yeah.
Just like a lot of them did. And so it can get kind of stressful, I think. But at the same time, it's, I don't know what the word I would use. It's empowering to know that you don't have to go through it alone. And, I think another lesson that I've thought about this a lot the last couple of nights is when we were there building, they were building things in ways that I wouldn't do it. And right.
I was going to say that too, that the way they were building it, I'm not used to, because I haven't seen you do it.
Right. Right. But that doesn't make it wrong.
No. Right.
I I mean, it doesn't. I'll give you guys an example. So like when I build a header above a window, I use a triple sandwich 2x10. So that's 3 2x10s with 1/2-inch plywood between.
Sounds
That's how I've learned. Right. It's big, it's heavy, it's sturdy. But in these particular headers, the way they built them was with basically a top plate and a bottom plate, 2 2x10s, and they left the front space open so they could insulate it. They could create a thermal barrier, which is really smart. Right? There's nothing wrong with this. This is
So then
perfectly
what
fine
is
construction.
ours? Ours are like, how do we not have? We don't have insulation in ours. Then
No, we have 3 2x10s and 2 pieces
with
of plywood.
wood in
Correct.
the middle.
So our headers, the
what
guts
kind
of
of
the
R
header.
value is that?
I have no idea. But oh, this is funny. Half Bubble Off Plum says adult version of
Votech
class in high school.
Kind of.
Yeah, Bonnie. Good evening to you. Us Jeep girls.
Gotta stick
You know,
together.
yeah, our Jeep girls got to stick together. It's a breast thing, right?
Yeah.
You see here, Instigator says, I've been learning roofing system have changed since the 80s. Yeah, and I don't know if this particular house, if they're going to go through it, but they were talking about putting a seamless metal roof on. I've never seen such a thing. I have no idea how they go together. Or maybe it's not seamless, it's just no exposed. I don't know, but we're going to find out, but it's super cool.
No idea.
Having community stress lessens the stress. Would you agree with that or disagree with that?
Having community lessons.
Because this is a super interesting topic right here. Because on one hand, this is true that you have that going down, but at the other hand, imagine, Jules, that you took your life savings and you were going to build a house and 30 people showed up and it was completely chaotic and you had no control of anything and everything was going on. Would that stress you out? Right? Because there's a lot of people who I could see that would create
What happens
stress.
if you get there and they're not doing what you want them to do?
Right.
You're like,
right.
Because I guess in my opinion, it depends on the community.
Yeah.
Because I've been in stressful communities before.
Right. I think it's just kind of a mix of all of it. And the other thing is we're all flawed. We're all human beings and we're all different. That's the lesson. Yeah. And we got to find a way to work through it and work together. That's why I really think the lesson in the whole community day for me was honing our skills of working together, because we're going to need it someday. And I hate to say that, but I do, but it is. American Roots said, that's encouraging. See, it's empowering that I don't have to have the answer to anyone. I wonder what SNY means. What do you suppose she meant by that? I don't have to answer to anyone anymore.
Anymore? Yes.
Yep.
Yes. Because they're by each other.
That's a good place to be. Softwood should have an R value of about 1.4 per inch. So 4 inches of softwood would be between 3 and 6 R.
Oh, okay.
And it'd be
times 3.
Right, 4.5 inches of softwood and 1 inch of plywood in between all of that.
Right.
And if anybody on this would know what the R value of a triple 2x10 sandwich header, it would be the Instigator for sure.
Yeah.
Right.
Or one step closer.
He'd probably know. Yeah, there's a few of them that would probably know. Big Kid probably know too. Yeah. Let me see. Jules says, it'd actually make me feel relieved. I had to do some things alone for a long time. So having others to share the stress with would be my ideal. That's interesting. We're all different people and we all handle things completely different. And it's interesting. I'm going to, again, I still got some footage to shoot. I'll go down and do that. And if the homeowners will allow me, I'd like to talk to them for 5 minutes. But just because
that would be great. That would be
now
good.
They've had some time to absorb it all, right? And they've had some time to say, hey, what did you think? And how do we get better? And, I know that, the male in the relationship there had said several things to me, like I would do this, I would do that. I'd do a meeting beforehand. I'd be more involved in this and just some of those kind of things, which I think would help. But overall, guys, I'm going to tell you, it was a fabulous experience. I'm super glad I went through it. You guys are going to love the video. It's cute. As I mentioned, B went around and asked everybody why they were there, and the answers were cool. And there was a lot of poking fun and a lot of having fun. And I'm going to get a chance to torture a lot of people I care about in the video, which that's good, right? A
lot of good people.
Yeah. Yeah. And some of you on the live here tonight, I'm going to torture because
he's tagged.
Yeah. Bonus that you get to learn alternative options for sure. Like I was giving you the headers. There's nothing wrong with the way they build headers. In fact, it might be superior.
Or the green plywood.
Right. I've never used zip.
The rolly tape.
Yep. I've never used zip.
You just call that zip? That's just
Yeah,
called zip.
it's zip OSB. There's a coating on it.
Yeah.
And there's really good things to it. You don't have to use house wrap. The only negative that I don't like about it is that you cannot countersink the head of a nail, right? Because if you blow through that coating, you've defeated the purpose of the zip. So you got to have a lot of more attention on the plywood versus an old OSB. You bam, 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 and then put house wrap
through
on
it, house wrap.
Right. But it came out nice and it was really, really cool. And like I said, I have no complaints. And again, I'm proud.
Is zip more commercial?
No, it's becoming common every day.
Okay.
It's just not what we built with. And, I just know how to build
we're
old school. I'd be interested to know on those headers too. What is the load strength of the 2x10s versus the 3 that are sandwiched compared to the R rating of the thermal, that thermal block that insulation gives you right there? Well, how does that weigh out?
That's what I'm asking.
Yeah. It's like the sheer strength of a nail versus the sheer strength of a screw, right? Because there's huge advantages to using screws. I mean, they are totally recoverable, right? In every single way.
You don't have to cut them.
You have to cut them to move something. And if you don't have a lot of building experience, that's why I like to lean that way. But a screw, the metal that the nail's made out of probably has a considerably higher shear strength than the screw does.
Can't you pry the nails off easier? Like when we put a board in, stud in, and then we're like, oh, we're going to put a window there, and we have to take that one out, but they're screwed from the top and the bottom.
That would be easier
when you
with
go
nails.
to pull them out,
that would be easier with nails.
They would.
Yeah. But for me, I wouldn't do that anyway. I would cut it where the cripple would be, and I would cut it where the trimmer would be, and take the center out, unless I had to get rid of the whole thing for some reason. Right. Let me see here. Bird's Eye View says we love being part of the community, and you know what, Bud, we love you guys being here, and it ain't always easy, but man, enjoy it, because I know I'm difficult as can be, right? Yeah. After action report. Yeah, that'd be good too.
Yeah. That'd be good.
I would really like to talk to them, and if they will, I will.
It would be a good an after action report to do, like as to all the people there, and then to the people that did the rotation. I think like the homeowner and then the group.
Yeah, it would just be hard to get. It's be hard to get all that together, because
I know
that's one of the problems with, because there's several different methods you guys can go at this. Right, we can build a house slow and steady. And I'll guarantee if we did it slow and steady, there wouldn't be a single miscut. Everything would line up perfect the first time, all of those kind of things.
We're all human.
It would. Most of it would. But the problem is everybody has homesteads. Everybody has buildings going up. Everybody has fencing going up. Everybody has animals to go up. Your window is just not that big.
I know, but I don't think that we would do a better job if we went slower.
Yes, we would.
I think that
we would.
Why?
Because if we could, I'll give you some examples. There was some nails, for example, that was nailed into a bottom plate that was at an angle that popped through, and we had to cut off the front. So once you stood the wall, you could see the nails sticking out. So we had to go by with a metal bit sawzall and chop them off.
But if you lay out the wall and you slap, how do you know it popped through until you lift it up?
Because
you're not going to know it went through.
Yeah, because if we would have slowed down and could have taken a little more time, we could say, hey, listen, pay attention to the level of the nail gun.
You could go through that every time.
Yeah, well, I didn't. But anyway, great experience, beautiful home, and straight. And I'm way behind on my comments. So.
I didn't think that it looked like people were working sloppily.
No, baby. What you have to understand, it's not a sloppy issue. You have people who built a lot, and you have people who built middle, and you have people that have built none.
I get that.
Yeah, and you're going to have a mix. You're going to have a mix. It's just the way it is.
But you're okay. So you think that if you were going slower,
I could have taught more.
You wouldn't go zip, zip, zip. You would go zip.
No, you know me. I would have said no. I would have said,
yeah, but not you. You were teaching people, so those people that you were teaching would aim.
I think
before they shoot.
Yes, I think a little more instruction, you might have prevented some of those things. But it wasn't a big deal. You're just cutting a tip of a nail off. It's not.
Yeah,
doesn't do anything.
I was just wondering how you meant that.
Yeah, I just mean I could have instructed more.
Well, you were on the cut table.
I know a lot of people. But that's another thing. Like I didn't have any time on Saturday to teach cutting at all. And to me, cutting's the key to building.
No, you were.
If you understand how a cut works, or an angle works, or any of those things, and there were a lot of people who were leaning over me trying to understand what I was doing, and I'm just trying to. Get it done. So we could have done a little more learning in that too, which would have been pretty cool. Let me see here. So cross section is thinner versus the nail. A screw cross section is thinner versus the nail. Yeah, which would allude to the nail had a better shear strength, right? Brett says zip is 5 times more cost, but supposed to be a superior water and air barrier after you tape the seams. Yeah, and I believe this to be true.
5 times the cost?
It's hard, man. That coating they put on there, I mean, it's hard. But 5 times the cost is a lot of cost, right?
Especially with the prices now.
Yeah, for sure. There's no such thing as perfect on a build. Well, that's interesting you say that, and I've told people this too, Skane's girl, that there's no such thing as a square plumb and line house. You can get real close, right? You can get within a 16th, you can get within a 32nd, you can get within an 1/8, whatever it is, but you're going to have some variances, but that isn't necessarily because the build is bad. It's because wood is all different sizes, and like you go by pre-cut studs and you say, okay, I want an 8-foot stud or I want a 9-foot stud. How many of them come exactly 8 or 9 foot?
We saw that.
There's some variances, right? Because again, humans are involved. Kelly says, I love being part of this community on your channel, even if I can't be part of y'all's community where you live. Yeah, it's interesting. I talk about community a lot. At Self-Reliance Festival, I'm going to talk about the community and the different circles and the different rings, which is like what we experience right here, Kelly. And you guys are part of my community right here. And I get to bounce things off you guys. I learn things from you guys. It's a really cool experience. Hey, Leather Homestead's in the house. What's up, bud?
Hey, y'all.
What's it say? I hope the cost of things slow. Got to buy another jet.
You got a jet?
Yeah, you got a jet. You want to fly out here? We can, build you a runway. That'd be pretty cool. I think it's great that you all can get together and do this. It's costing me lots of money also, so the fellowship is priceless. The fellowship is where it's at.
Yeah.
And
for sure,
the homeowner gets a great deal out of it. They got, I don't know how many labor hours that was. I didn't do the math, but figured 25 or 22 people at 8 hours. I don't know what that was. They got off for pizzas, which is pretty cool, right? I mean, it saves them a bunch of money, but I don't really think that's the big win. I think the big win is, again, learning to work together and learning how to communicate and how do we deal with conflict resolution and how do we deal with when there's an issue, how do we fix those issues, right? I mean, that's what it's about. And poking fun and having fun. What are you smiling about?
I don't want to say.
Say it. Come on, tough guy.
Nope.
She's a chicken. She's a chicken, everybody. Let me see here. I don't know if I'm behind or what's going on. Let me see. The pad affects the build also, for sure. 100% for sure. And if the concrete guys didn't get the basement perfect, you'll never get the house perfect, right? Because it starts in the foundation.
Yeah.
Right. But this foundation was really nice. It was really easy to work off.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And it's pretty.
It was pretty.
Let me see here. Pocket says a 4x8 7/16 zip panel is $70 a piece. Look at that. Limit 90 per order in this area at Home Depot, and that's not including the tape.
Wow, that's for one panel.
One sheet,
and that's like 8 by
4 by 8.
4.
Yeah, 4 by 8. Oh my god! But it's good stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's worth it or it's not worth it. I have no idea. But I can tell you,
you don't have to buy the Tyvek, and you don't have to buy.
One roll of Tyvek for $100 would have done the whole place.
I was gonna say, I think it was $80.
Yeah, whatever it is. So that's not the thing. I think the hard coating that's on it is what I like about it, because you try to drive a nail or a screw in it, and it's hard. So I can certainly see some value. I would like to see what would happen left outside on a house for a whole winter. And how would it take the weather not being wrapped and those kind of things? I don't think we'll get that far because
I've seen construction or commercial buildings, like big, multi-levels that had that green stuff on through a winter.
Yeah, Leather Homestead has a great point. Once you get the furniture moved in, a little off here and there will not show or matter. Yeah, it's funny. The only people that will see it will be the people that built it. Will be the people that own the house. They'll see it all. Like at my house, I can walk around and show you all kinds of things, but most people never see them. Pete says he can't spell. See here, just like relationships, if the foundation isn't solid, everything else is thrown off. Yeah. Mike says zip is only $35 a sheet here. It's gone way up recently.
That's like 35 half the price, because his was 69, so $70.
Yeah, and so 35 would be about double the price of a 7/16 OSB here, I think. I haven't looked at the price in a little while, but.
And then the tape.
Yeah, and then the tape. But
I'm sure you have to buy the roller separate.
Oh, yeah. I think Mike said you did have to buy the roller separate, I think, right? I don't remember. But
And then, of course, it's not something you'd probably use again, right?
I think you use
That
it again.
roller. What
Oh,
would you
for all
use
kinds
that
of things.
roller for?
Anytime you wanted to roll out tape around a window, right? You know how we put window tape around
I
in a
don't know.
particular
That
order?
left little marks in it, little Z's in it.
Yeah, but I don't think it punctured it, did it? No, it wouldn't have
I
punctured it.
don't think
No, I think
so.
it'd be fine. I think you could use it for all kinds of things. Curtains and trim hide everything. B, I know you wanted to hammer, but without you filming, all of us would not have been benefited from what everyone else had done and said. Thanks for your hard work. See, I agree. I actually think it's probably might have been the most important job because our goal is to build community, and you can't build community.
That's our goal,
right? If we can't demonstrate community. You see, I still don't have baseboards. Yeah, I'm actually missing some baseboards in my house too. If it makes you feel
several
better.
rooms.
My last job was a construction contract manager for DoD contracts. The prices were crazy 2 years ago. Everything's crazy. Everything's crazy. We have pieces left over that the edges are exposed to our New England weather. Sorry, it's one word. New England weather, and it soaks water like a sponge. Well, that's a good thing. Don't leave them exposed. Make sure you get the corners all taped up good, right? I think that's probably what that tape is for.
You tape the corners?
I think so. I mean, Indiana, can you elaborate on that? But I think you tape the corners.
Seam. Well, I guess that would be a seam.
Hope Hill says, hey guys, looking in from the Philippines. Well, welcome from the Philippines.
Welcome.
And hope does heal. Yeah. All right. So what you got the first thing on your list? I think we talked about that enough. Video coming out next week. You guys are going to love it. It's super cool. Oh, but I warn you, it's long. Like right now, I think it's 40 minutes and I'm not finished I haven't put all the video in it yet. But I went from 6.5 hours to 40 minutes. So I cut a lot of it out.
You don't have to watch it. You can just listen to it.
I would watch it because some of that interaction is just great. But either way.
Yeah.
So what do you got?
We first thing on my list I have is we got the automatic generator start working.
Oh, that was a big deal too.
So we now have the capability, well, our generator now has the capability of turning on all by itself without us pushing a button. So when the batteries get to a certain point,
which I moved, by the way,
40%.
No, not
was
anymore.
it 40? Then what is it?
Yeah. So my system, guys, when I built it, I programmed it so that the system would shut down when the batteries got to 40%. I did this because it extends the life of the battery. My batteries are lithium. You can run them all the way down, but if you cut down the cycles, right, it'll extend the life of them. And so we actually moved that with the generator. Now I moved it up to 55%.
What?
So the batteries will not go beneath 55%. If it hits 55%, the generator will kick on and will automatically charge them, which it would have charged them before, but we had to manually do it.
Yeah, we had to go do it.
Now we get to do it and don't have to touch anything. It will do it all by itself.
Yeah, we thought we had it working, but the part was faulty. So we had to get a new part.
Yeah. Hippocrates said, I wish I had more time to do stuff. Took some mail to the neighbor that had come to our box. In the conversation, I said I had a sawmill. He asked if I wanted some pine trees. That's cool.
Nice.
Oh, thanks, Indiana. Indiana says all exposed edges get taped.
Which makes sense.
Yeah.
Because how else would it protect it?
Right. Nancy's house was built in 1902. Things are not necessarily plumb. You know what, though? Some of them older houses, we have a community member who bought a 100-year-old house and a farm that was, man, it had a lot to do. But
this house is like solid.
It is the straightest house I've ever been in. This house got hit directly by a tornado, and it is plumb and square and level.
And
really
solid.
Cool. Yeah. Hey, Chuck Peoples is in the house. What's up, bud?
It's the old batten. What do you call that? What are the slats inside the walls are like slats and like plaster.
Yeah, board batten and plaster batten.
That's what was in our house when growing up, and we had removed it from several of the walls and put drywall up.
Yeah,
that's when my dad had his heart attack.
Mm-hmm.
He was drywalling my bedroom.
Pete says, or Squatchy says, I stand corrected.
Squatchy.
I need to video all the stuff we do here, but we're not very camera friendly. We weren't really either. It just takes a little bit of practice. Now it's super easy.
We got a GoPro and just started carrying it around.
Tim Riley, good evening to you.
And then it broke. No, it didn't break. The SD card broke.
Yeah, this is a actually really good comment, and I'm not sure, but it says, is anyone going to do anything different on October the 4th for 30 minutes? You probably don't know what they're talking about. The national, the nationwide alert and alarm. And they're talking about
the
special frequencies and, you know, and all of that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Which plays a role.
Yeah. Let's hear in the comments if anyone's going to change anything.
Yeah. You know, listen to some C.
There you go. Laugh and plaster.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
how does let's go back to the generator. How does the generator make your life easier by doing that?
Whoa, I think that I'm going to look at the smart panel less.
That's one. What else will it do? How does it make you more free?
Well, I have to look at the smart panel less. Because now it'll just happen magically.
Yeah.
It's like rainbows. They just show up.
Yeah, say it like a blonde.
What?
The way it's going to make Bee's life more free is that when it's nighttime and the sun's starting to go down, she don't have to say, I can't use the air fryer. It's going to make her more free because when there were days of half sun and where she wanted to iron, but she decided she wasn't going to iron because she was concerned about the power, she has to worry about this less and less. And so it's going to free up her time. It's going to give her more options, right? More options, more choices, more freedom.
Less excuses is what you're saying, right?
I didn't say that.
There's a mosquito, a big one.
Yeah. See, thought about putting my phone in a Faraday bag. Yeah. Hide in the barn. It's a fantastic Faraday cage. No service at all. Yeah. Yeah. Not doing anything different on the 4th. May just turn my phone off.
Will that work?
I've heard use aluminum foil for the phone. Put smartphones in the microwave. Don't turn it on. Yeah, the problem with the smartphone in the microwave, if you take every microwave I've ever tried this on, one more rock, take your phone, put it in the microwave, close the door, and have someone call your phone and it rings. If it rings inside that microwave, see, there's a rubber gasket.
Signal.
That's right. It's got a signal. Yep. Kelly Ireland says, any good videos on how to build a Faraday cage? Faraday cages are super simple to build, and there's a ton of videos out there. I like to use ammo cans because they're already metal. All you got to do is line them with something, you know, put cardboard in them or something like that. The only problem with them is when you put the lid down, there's a rubber gasket in there. So if you take some metal tape, they sell it at every hardware store, and just tape around that seam, it does a pretty effective job.
Can't you do a metal trash can?
You can metal trash can works good too. Yep.
And what do you have to put your item in?
You just don't want your item touching the metal. So if you
put
it
in a cardboard box.
Put it in a cardboard box. You can line it with foam. You can any of this. And I've actually been in rooms where these studies have gone on this. So it's super easy. Vicky says, turn off your phones. Yeah. If you turn off and put in a Faraday cage, what happens when you turn them back on? What are we doing at Midwest Preparedness Project when that happens? Because they'll be at the project.
Oh.
Right, because that'll be Wednesday. Is that right?
Yeah.
I think it's Wednesday next week.
Next week?
Next week? Yeah. Jules, good night to you.
Who all's coming out to the Midwest Preparedness Project?
Yeah.
Who do we get to see?
Yeah, type of 1 or something, or a hand. Everybody type of 1 who's going to go to the Midwest Preparedness. We'll know who we're going to look at out there.
We know who we'll look at.
I saw a guy build a Faraday cage with a metal trash can. Yeah, they're super easy.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. I've heard the All-American pressure canner is a great Faraday cage because there's no gasket. I agree with that 100%.
Oh.
Just make sure that your item's not touching the metal. Right?
That would be another reason why to get one.
Brett Boyd says, is this going to be like 2000?
Yeah.
Yeah, very well. Yep. Bank with Consequences has to go feed. So good night to you. It's not advisable for anyone to listen to the alert that goes on for 30 minutes.
It's not advisable.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. Our barn is super old, thick metal type. Perfect. Yeah. Mike and Jen are going, which is going to be super cool. Get to hang out a bit.
Yes.
Yep. Eagle Lover, Texas is going.
Yes.
There, my buddy ACM Homestead is going.
Yes.
Yep. Gypsy's going. We see LJC says we're flying in Wednesday the 4th, so hopefully it's just a rumor. So she'll be on an airplane that time. Yep, Skane's girl is going. American Roots, do you turn it off in the Faraday cage? Doesn't matter, because if there's no signal getting in, it can't do anything, right? Can it transmit a signal? You could turn it off. I would turn it off just so it wasn't sitting in there on, but really what you're trying to do is just stop the signal. Yep, MJ will be in the house. Cool. If they're going to do something nefarious.
Oh, I caught it.
Did you? Oh, Daniel's on.
I sure did.
Did you use your chopsticks? Here you go.
No, but I should have.
Yeah.
Is that somebody's voice out there?
Oh, B's gone. You know what, Drummondson Live, if they're going to do something nefarious, why would they tell us? See, this is the thing with today, I think. Nobody knows. Can you tell me what the truth is anymore? Because I'm telling you, I can't do it. Everything I see, I don't know what's real. I don't know what, I just don't know anymore. And wouldn't surprise me a bit if they told us. You know, there's a lot of stories about, you know, they want to tell us in advance or they are trying to warn us or whatever. I have no idea. Couldn't even tell you. Yep, 1 pressure can or B, 2 is 1, and 1 is none. So I want to tell you guys a story about this. LJC, this is important. So me and B went out to the auction today.
I think that's the neighbor.
And just to drive through it, because B don't like to go to the auction. So she wants to go make a list, and then I go to the auction, which I'll be at the auction all day tomorrow. I'll film it for you guys. But anyway, so we walked around a lot, and they had a UTV there, a Razor there. And B has a UTV, and I have a UTV. And I said to B, B, you know, you said in your last video that 1 is none. 2 is 1, and 3rd, you have a spare in reference to the trail sewing machines. And how come this didn't apply to me in UTVs?
Yeah, because we have, we have two, we have like your UTV, my UTV, and a 4-wheeler.
Yeah, so just so you were all clear, her
We
whole
have 3
story
mowers.
was bullshit.
We're set on riding.
Luis will be there. Hey, RN, good evening to you.
Yes.
You're right on time. Yeah. Brett says, wait, sorry, we're on one. Here we go. I think I will just go on with my life and let others worry. Or break out my old BlackBerry. I had a BlackBerry once.
I think I still have your BlackBerry.
What else you got on your list? You want me to go?
Generator. So when the generator was being auto started, I made lotion with the generator man's wife.
Yeah, so maybe we should start there and talk about the week. So Saturday we did the community rotation.
Yep.
Sunday you made lotion.
I made lotion. I made Mullen chest rub. I made detangling spray. Yep. I was gifted some lemon balm infused oil.
Yep. And while she was doing that, the guy that helped me with the generator, we worked on that, and then we went down and worked on the range for a while to get that a little more up to speed so we could do a little more shooting because I love to shoot. And then, so that was Saturday and Sunday. Yeah. Right. Monday, I went back out and helped fix some of those little issues with the house. What'd you do on Monday?
Monday, I don't remember Monday.
She must have been on vacation.
Oh, yeah. Was that when we helped the new community member move the stove? Fridge and stove?
We did. We did. We went out and helped move a fridge and a stove out of a U-Haul. On Monday, that's correct.
Up some stairs into a house.
Yep. And what did we do Tuesday? I went to work.
Tuesday, I did a little laundry. I
wish I could do some Jeopardy music.
Yeah, I think I did laundry.
Yep.
A little bit.
Yep. Thursday, Wednesday. What'd you do Wednesday?
Wednesday. Yes, we built fence.
Yes, and a lot of it.
We ran 350
foot of fence.
Feet of fence.
Yep.
With our muscles.
Thursday, we went to a bunch of homesteads and helped out there. Right. Friday, which was today, right? We went out to the auction, ran around to see what was going on.
Yes.
And
I had to get feed.
And you murdered a chicken.
I didn't murder a chicken.
Tell them about your chicken.
The damn dog got the chicken's bottom, and I saw the dog with the chicken, and it was a baby chicken too. Not a baby chick, but like a younger chick.
And they don't ever bother the big ones. It's just the little ones.
So it wasn't going to make it. So I had to help. Not happy about it.
Yep. So you did that. And then while I was up here getting ready for the live, because I researched a bunch of topics and all of that,
I hauled the chicken feed.
Yep. You unloaded a bunch of feed. Put it away. Right. And then here we are.
Did a little bit of chores. I have to go finish. Yeah. The chickens, like everybody else, is like food. I can put them away with their food. I show them a little food. I take them to their pen. I put the food in the pen. They go in there, and then they're happy. The chickens are like, we're not coming in. We're not coming in until dark. So I have to wait until dark to get the chicken door shut because they do not go in until it's dark.
Yep. Well, you blame them. JB says research lemon balm if you have hypothyroidism. Farm Ranch Hand says I've seen a few imported Japanese mini fire trucks. I like those mini trucks, like those little Daihatsus. I like them. We have water tanks that go on our UTVs for fighting fires, and I would encourage everybody to do that because fire is the number one thing you're going to deal with from a catastrophe perspective.
And it's not always your fault. Could be just like the neighbor's fault.
Oh, that was a good thing to talk about. So you guys remember the neighbor that caught my place on fire? You guys remember that video? Something really cool happened. This is why you live well, right? And you try to be good and all that. So this guy catches my place on fire. He drives his UTV out in the fire, burns up his UTV so he can no longer fight the fire. So me and B come with our UTV. We put out the fire. We lost some tires. We lost some plywood, some little things. Wasn't that big a deal.
Cedar trees.
Yep. About 20 cedar trees. And he said to me, hey, make me a list and I'll pay for all of it. I said, no, don't worry about it, bud. This is fine. Just remember this when I build your, burn your place down. And we went on with our life. And then the next day he shows up and replants all of these cedar trees, which was pretty nice. But a new thing happened. So we went out and filmed the community event. And I come home and I'm trying to download all of the videos off. And it says my SD card is corrupted.
8 hours of video.
Yeah. And 6.5 hours of video. And so I'm like, oh, I can't replace this video.
Oh, we were out there for 8 hours.
You were out there.
I did not.
You shot 6.5. Yeah. And so the guy that's my neighbor that burned it down owns a store in town called that deals with computers. And so anyway, I went in and I said, hey, can you help me? He said, I don't know. He'll try. And so he took the SD card and I get a phone call a little while later. It says, okay, we got them all off of there for you. And it's no charge and have a great day. And, this is repayment for burning your place down. So it was nice. Him and I got a chance to bond a little more and become a little better friends, right? He did me a solid. I did him a solid. Life is good, right?
Guess we're even.
Yeah, right. So to me, it was just a really cool gig. Anything else in the generator for that day?
Generator lotion helped.
She did film making the lotion, by the way.
Did he pull that off?
Yeah, I've got it. I haven't even looked at it. I don't even know what it looks like, but so it may be usable, maybe not, because who filmed it, but. Right. Thursday this week, you guys, I'll be on the Survivalist Prepper on his podcast sometime early evening, I think. I don't know when, but we're going to get a link out like Monday or Tuesday, but just FYI. You know what else? Last week, we forgot to do something. What did we forget to do last week, Pumpkin?
Use your brain?
No. We said we were going to give away a card deck and we didn't do it.
Correct.
Right. So where are they?
They're in the windowsill.
Oh, you want to grab one? No, I'll get it.
Yes. Let me get up and get one.
Yeah. Okay.
I like watching you work.
I know you do, right? Life's normal. So these are the without rule of law card decks. Oh, there it goes. So this is the unopened one. Except now I just opened it. Okay. But anyway.
Good grief.
Yeah. Last week we said we were going to give one of these decks away because they gave them to me to review them. Again, I make nothing from them. I have no discount code. Grumpy Acres has one. They're an affiliate, but I don't do that stuff. So anyway, we're going to give it away. How would you like to give it away? What do you think would be a good way to do? Let me just ask somebody a question. And the first one that responds the right answer. What do you think?
What's the question?
Well, if I tell you this, they'll know it.
Why'd you whisper it to me? Oh man, you broke it.
No, wait. Well, then we'll do this one.
All right. You totally broke this.
How about the...
Yeah, okay.
All right. So the first person, because I want to give one of these away, and we'll ship it to you, our bill, everything. The first person to tell me the names of my 3 dogs, I will send you this box.
Could it be people like the neighbor?
I don't care, whoever's watching. All right.
All right.
Yep. Great story. Relationships are more important than stuff. Yeah, it was a really great experience. Really great. B, I love the short videos of you feeding the turkeys. Yeah, it's interesting.
Banana.
Oh, look at that. That is correct. Violet, Panzer, and Rosie. Those are their names. Oh, yeah, look at that. There's another right answer right behind it. But American Roots wins because they were the first one to get it in there. Right. So American Roots, I have a box for you, but I'm going to see you soon. So I'll probably just not send it to you and just keep it and give it to you when you get here. Sound good?
That's a good idea.
Yeah. Let me see here.
Is that Jess?
Yeah, that's Jess. Yeah. B, I love your short videos on feeding the turkeys. Guys, I don't know why turkeys like bananas,
They do.
but they love bananas. The geese don't.
What do geese like? I cannot find a little
treat
that they don't like anything except for their ducks. And I got rid of the ducks, and so they're really mad at. They just have been walking around the yard, kind of barking. What do you call that? Honking?
Yeah, fun.
Just like roaming the yard, just honking.
Yeah. So what do you give a goose for a treat? Because the ducks, I mean, the turkeys like bananas.
Mm-hmm.
Miley wants to know, if you off grid, do you have house insurance? Contents, barn, shed, etc.
Yeah.
I do have house insurance.
Yeah.
And I don't have a problem with it. You know, me and B have gone round and round about this. I would prefer not to carry insurance. I'd prefer to self-insure. But, you know, replacing a, like, for example, I don't insure my skid steer. Because the truth is, if something happened to my skid steer, I wouldn't like it. I wouldn't enjoy the moment, but I could go get another one. My house would be super hard to replace, as that's a whole bunch of money to do it. But the amount of money we spend, and we spend big money and don't ever have a claim, don't ever use it, and have done it for years and years. If I'd have saved all the money I'd ever spent in homeowners insurance and put it into a big old pile, I'd have enough there now to build a house, right? After all the years. So anyway, we go round and round and round about it. You know, let me see.
What did maybe say?
Where are we at here?
Oh, right there, Miley.
Yeah.
So
let me see. Turkey tail is a shelf mushroom, grows on hardwood, fallen logs, antiviral. Oh, good.
Yep.
Yeah. Everything loves black soldier fly larvae. Hey, no mods, watch this. You want to see something funny?
Hey, no mods.
Must be no mods. Bird seed, he says. Oh, it won't let me from here. I have to do it from YouTube. You know, Pete, I was going to make you a mod right there just for fun. I really was. Geese like cracked corn. Potato pills. Rick says, did I win? Did you win? Nope. The winner of the first one was right there, which was American Roots, which said, you're talking about as far as the name of the dogs go.
You're always a winner, Rickster.
Yeah. Okay. Let me see.
What is that?
All geese I know like humans. Yeah, the geese are super cool.
Mm-hmm.
Carrie Davis says liability. I'm assuming you're saying liability insurance. Yes, I have an umbrella policy on my farm, and I also have homeowners insurance. Yeah. Trouble? No. And what the
world?
I have no idea what you're talking about, Rickster.
Trouble.
If Tag lost his skid steer, he would cry, and I would be there with my violin. Yes, you would, Heidi. Yes, you would.
I would too.
Yep, and I'd not say hello to Heidi. Hello, Heidi.
Hello, Heidi.
Yep, great channel, you guys.
I mean, hello, Rain Country.
Yep, could not endorse it more. Let me see. Okay, steep probably in a mesh bag to hold the powder. I usually use those whole pieces high-proof vodka. We must be having two different conversations because I'm not following.
Because Amy, what was she talking about? Somebody else was talking to her. Yeah, Amy.
You want to get honest? What else you got? I did mine.
Sorry.
Pick one.
Oh, I was gifted some home cured bacon from another homestead.
Bacon?
Bacon.
Really?
Bags. Like, I'm talking probably 40 pounds of bacon.
Really? I thought you got pork chops.
Okay, so yes, I was gifted those as well. Pork chops and lamb chops. I forgot about those. Those were today. The bacon was a couple of days ago. So yes, I was gifted several pounds of home cured bacon, sliced up, looked beautiful. And then today, the person that I gave the ducks to brought me my kennel back today and gifted me some pork chops and lamb chops. I've never eaten lamb chops, so I don't know how to cook them. I assume you just grill them up. Probably can't go wrong with that. But you're going to eat them too. Have you eaten lamb chops?
I have.
Did you like them?
Okay.
Like a pork chop?
No.
Littler?
Yeah, littler. I had them on one of the cruises we went on earlier in our life. I don't remember a while ago, but
I don't remember that.
Well, free meat's a good gig though, right?
Yeah, and I want to try it. So that's great.
No. Miley says, I got a break on my homeowner's insurance having a Generac generator. Is there a kickback on solar? No.
Hey, I thought there was.
No, you get a tax incentive on solar.
Okay.
But I'm talking about as a break on insurance. No, your insurance is more because
Right.
that's expensive equipment to insure.
Okay, yeah.
Right?
Right.
All right, cool. You done with that topic?
Yes. Sorry.
You're okay. So let me see here. What do I got? Let's talk about a news topic. What do you think?
Okay.
That's good. Yeah, so this was interesting. So a U.S. judge denies the state's bid to block Biden on the ESG. So this just came out, right? A Biden administration rules that allows employees' retirement plans to consider the environment, social, and governance scores. What this was about. So a judge came in and said that they can indeed use EGS scores in retirement plans for employees. What do you think about that?
I don't know anything to say.
You know anything to say?
No.
Yeah. So what do you guys think about this? You guys think it's a good idea that the Biden administration and retirement plans have to meet an ESG standard, an environmental, social, and governance score, in order to be able to even offer it to you? I'll tell you what's going to happen with it. Because they have to consider those things, you're going to get a less quality investment.
Right.
Which I wouldn't invest in it over anyway, but.
Right.
Right. Look at this. Life of Mike and Jen said, I feel like lamb kind of tastes like a billy goat beard smells.
Okay. I will keep that in mind.
Yep. Overreaching government. Yep. What does it affect? Well, like I was just talking about, what it affects is you'll get less people with government pensions, right? People who will be a part of this thing are going to get a less quality investment because the investment is going to be based partially on how woke they are,
right?
Not on the fundamentals, right? I mean, but guys, never forget this. ESG works both ways. They can have the environmental, social, and governance score, and we can have the ungovernable score. We get to choose where to put our money in. You don't have to put your money in those investments. If they go down that road, take your money out.
Put it somewhere else.
Put it somewhere else. I mean,
invest in yourself.
Yeah. So Faith says ESG is a crock. It's a game that corporations and governments cooked up together to cut down on the competition. Well, and also to be able to skim higher profits off the top and give you the lower yield because you feel good because you are environmentally, socially, and squared away. Yeah, Skins Girl says she hopes it goes to the Supreme Court. Yeah, not likely. Not likely. Let me see. What was the next one? Oh, that was interesting. Let me see here. That's why we pulled ours out as soon as the election corruption began. Yeah, I pulled mine out too. It's not financial advice, so I say, right? Woke is such a poor name since they are not awake. Yeah, I think woke is short for awake, maybe, or the lazy way to say awake, which maybe that describes it perfectly. Because they're half asleep. I don't know. Here's another interesting article that I found. So this is from Lifehacker. And this was just one day ago. So the apocalyptic events that you should actually worry about. So, what do you think is going to be in there, babe? What apocalyptic events do you think that we would actually be worried about?
What they say?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what do you think?
Blackout, rolling blackouts.
Here we go. Ready?
Long term.
So the first one was Skynet.
Skynet.
Number one. It says a lot of talk about artificial intelligence has centered on economics and the chances that the machines take all of our jobs, which means we haven't been focused on the right threat. Terminators, according to a paper published by the Global Challenges Foundation, within the next century, there's a pretty grim 1 in 10 chance that AI makes this classic sci-fi calculation that humans are the problem and just decides to exterminate us all. A 10% chance might seem low, but it would mean that we have a much better chance of being hunted to extinction by one of those Black Mirror dog robots than we do by being blasted by an asteroid.
Oh my gosh.
Super COVID. This one was interesting, I thought. Did we mention the pandemic earlier? We sure did. And while the human race muddled through that emergency, it kind of underscored how vulnerable we are to the novel virus of some sort, not to mention a parasitic fungal infection. The Global Challenges Foundation paper estimated that there's a 5% chance that the human race is wiped out by a future pandemic. The good news is that it's much more likely that the devastating virus only kills half of us, like the Black Death of the 14th century, leaving the rest of us to move into all the empty mansions. What I find interesting about this comment is, and I'm going to read it real good, but it says, and while the human race muddled through the emergency, it kind of underscored how vulnerable we are. Well, they've actually made us more vulnerable to it because they've got everybody doubting the masks work, vaccines work. Nobody wants to comply, right?
Right.
And I'm one of them, right? But I find that pretty interesting. Then the other one here, and there's another page right behind this one, but another one that they said to pay attention to is a nuclear holocaust. They said it's grimly funny, but the world ending in a firestorm of nuclear weaponry followed by an endless nuclear winter now seems kind of quaint. But there's a 5% chance it happens in the next 100 years. So stock that apocalypse pantry with baked beans and prepare yourself. We collectively have the firepower to melt the world several times over. And if you're not vaporized in the initial strike, you're just as likely to die sometime later from radiation poisoning or simple starvation and privation once DoorDash stops delivering.
Yeesh.
Right? Yeah, one more rock says, it's very unnerving seeing masses of military men from all countries coming here and they didn't even bring their family. LJC says grid down. Yep.
Yeah.
That's a big one, in my opinion. Oh, yeah. What happened to the super fungus that was supposed to kill everyone? What was that earlier this year? There's actually a bunch of them out. I'm going to talk about a new one that I just found. So funny how they keep us in
super
fear.
Fungus?
Another issue like that, right? For many Americans, the scariest thing would be if Walmart went bankrupt. I'm actually going to talk about that tonight, too, because they're actually in financial trouble right now.
Oh?
They are. Yeah. They don't have most of our DNA on this live. I'd say most of us, they do not. All right, wasn't that interesting? All right, ready? We're going to the next list. These were the things that they said, so I thought they were pretty interesting. Ecosystem collapse, right? The terms climate change and ecosystem collapse sure sound long-term, like the sort of disasters you can safely ignore and leave to your kids to worry about. But the signs of an overall collapse of our environment are already there. From honeybee populations in decline, which threatens our ability to grow food, to fears of the sixth extinction, which they say there are experts out there, guys, who say we're at the beginning stages of the sixth mass extinction, because there have been 5 in our history, 5 in the past, that could destroy the food chain entirely. In short, the chances that humanity loses the ability to feed itself are real, and it's possible within our lifetime. Everywhere, all at once. Now we're talking. Many experts think that the end of us won't be a single dramatic event, but rather a combination of many disasters. A limited nuclear war that kills off tens of millions and disrupts global agriculture and trade, followed by a pandemic that hits a weakened humanity just as our technological and industrial base is reeling. For example, could provide a 1-2 punch we can't recover from. This could be a relatively slow-rolling series of mini disasters that simply erode the ability to cope until we reach an extinction tripping point that the chances of this happening are desperately high. Of course, the odds are that none of this happens while we're alive, so it's all pretty good. What do you think about all that, Ben? I actually think the last one's interesting because there's some... Does anybody remember another time in history where there's been more going on at one time?
Right.
I don't, right? I absolutely do not.
And you know that when you say that, and I know that you have said this numerous times. But every time you say it, it reminds me of that when and you were there when my dad was in the hospital, and he said, I had the pre-diabetes and I had the heart disease and then I had the cancer, but now I have everything all at once. And it's like fighting everything. Yeah. And that's when he started to cry. And I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
When you're fighting so many things, so many fronts, I think it
makes it scarier.
Well, yeah, because when you're fighting on too many fronts, how do you concentrate so much on this or this or this when you're trying to divide all of your attention and divide your knowledge and your energy.
Rick says we call these times the great we call these times the great retardation. Yeah. Wilma Rock says the Art of War, Book of Five Rings, Left of Bang. What I think is interesting about all this is there has never been a time where there's more. The economic system is in a mess. The housing system is in a mess. It's in a complete bubble. The justice system is in a mess, right? The medical system's a mess. The education system's a mess. The nuclear family has been collapsing for a long, long time and is completely eroded. The judicial system, the laws that are out there today are becoming more and more absurd.
Yeah.
Right. Socially, we've collapsed to where we're allowing people to have litter boxes in classes. I mean, I can't think of a single system or a single part of our society today that's squared away and going, Brett Boyd says that the Bible says the next destroying of the earth will be by fire. Well, the good news is we haven't had any fires lately, right? Oh, wait, what about besides Maui? Oh, and California and Russia and Turkey was on fire the other day. Hippocrates says, I don't know. I mean, I really can't imagine growing up during what we call World War II in Europe when you really had no idea what the next hour might bring. Entire cities were leveled. Yeah, no doubt. Barb says in Jackson County, they are raising taxes big time. We're going to talk about that a little bit tonight because I went to a meeting on that. Also raising the house prices, even though a house is not worth as much. A lady said they are doing this because they don't want to discriminate. Let me tell you why they're doing this, Barb. I'll tell you with 100% certainty why they're doing this. Because they're out of money. They've made promises their ass can't cash. And here's the thing is if they can raise the value of your house, they get to collect more taxes without having to say we raise taxes. It's that simple. Well, think about it. I mean, you remember how people would say it's crazy that the FBI investigates itself? Right? How does that work? Well, the bureaucrats, right, put out the regulations on how to value a house, right? And then more bureaucrats raise the value of the house according to what the first bureaucrats did, and then expect you to pay for it, right? It's like the Department of Justice investigating itself. But it's absolutely why they're doing it. Barb says discriminate from the poor. Well, raising taxes.
Discriminate.
Yeah, but here's the thing.
Poor.
This is so crazy. They want to make everybody equal. We're not all equal, guys. At the end of the day, the poor will not be able to afford what the rich does. And I don't care how much legislation you put into place, it's not going to change that. It's just absolutely not going to change that. They want to say that the raising of house prices discriminates against the poor because the poor can't afford it. How does that make any sense?
The poor, if they have a house, they have a house.
Well, except that if a house that was $150 is now $250 and inflation is running at 20%.
And then they have to pay taxes.
And then they got to pay taxes on that, which are also increased. That 150 house is no longer in reach to the people that would have bought that 150 house. And they're saying that it discriminates. So
you'd think that they would lower the price of the houses then?
Well, they will. They will. And they will because, the Fed's signaled this week, that they're going to raise interest rates again. And as the interest rates continue to climb, they're going to have fewer and fewer and fewer buyers, which ultimately will drive down house prices. Yeah.
Long term.
Yeah. And Canada was on fire. That's right.
For a long time.
You were talking about nukes. Was I? Did I talk about nukes? I don't remember. I could go
on the last this. On the last than that.
Oh, I might have. And nukes are fire. Oh, that's what he's saying. Got it. Sorry, I'm slow tonight. Yep. Let me see here. B, you may want to consider the automatic chicken door options.
Yeah, I've thought about that, but I don't. What happens if I don't want them out and the door just opens? Because there's times that I leave them in a little bit longer in the morning because I have to go do something, or because we're not going to be home, or because this or that, and I don't want to. If I dictate the door, then I dictate their activity.
One more rock says regarding property taxes, 2016 Yukon evaluation of $31,000. That happened to a friend. Well, interesting. We talked about this in the last live. The Bank of Montreal, which is one of the largest lending institutions that borrow on automobiles, last week decided to pull out of the automobile business altogether. And the reason they did it is really actually quite simple. They know that they've been loaning more money on vehicles than those vehicles are actually worth for a long period of time. And so as inflation continues to climb, as interest rates continue to climb, they're the ones going to be left holding the bag, and they're out. They're not going to take that risk on anymore because they know it's going to turn the other way. Right? But yeah, that's insane. A 2016 at 31 grand. This is the plan to make us feel hopeless. Stay focused. Oh yeah, for sure. I actually turned it into a game, and I encourage everybody else to do that too. You know, how free can I get? Which systems can I fight? Which ones can I combat? You see, Amy B says you don't want to fight a war on two fronts. Yeah, Hitler. Yeah, you want to fight it on one. Unfortunately, we're going to fight it on a lot of them, but how many can we eliminate, right? And ordinances that put a minimum house size because taxes on 200 square foot tiny house isn't close to that of a 1,000-foot tiny house. Well, yeah, they can't get enough revenue. That's the thing, guys. I mean, you know, my particular county, and I'm going to go into this here in a little bit, you know, is getting more revenue than it ever has, and yet it's raising taxes and property values, right? Because they spend like it's not their money. Oh, wait, it's not their money. The poor has tent. Well, the real poor live in a tent, I guess. I'm not real sure. I'm not really sure what that means. Let me see here. You're 100% correct about the outlook and the uplook. Yep. I'm positive, guys, about what's going on. We're going to go through a, you know, big shit sandwich, but I'm going to tell you something. I'd much rather it be on my watch. I'd rather it be now, you know, and not when my kids are growing up. So I say, let's get it on, you know. Someone texted me. Midwest Ribeye, good evening to you, says that they love their automatic chicken door. My house identifies as a tiny house. Yeah, let's see how well that works for you. Oh, look at that. Squatchy's back. Okay, back. Turned off all electronics a couple days before and after. I'm not sure what we're going to do yet. We're going to be out at the Midwest Preparedness Project probably around that time. Actually, we might not be. We'll probably be driving at that time when that emergency alarm goes off. Anyway, I don't know. I don't know what we're going to do.
Is it 4 o'clock?
Yeah, what will we be doing at 4 o'clock? Probably driving, right? Yeah, I kind of feel the same way about the auto door options, but mine aren't free range. Yeah, ours roam. They have access to the entire property, so.
And I lost one the other night. It didn't go in the pen. It slept outside. Mm-hmm. And when I got up, there was a trail of feathers down and into the woods. But now that one of the dogs had a chicken today, I don't know that wasn't, I don't think so, because it was down and around and into the woods. It was like,
there was nothing left of it.
It was like a trail.
It was just feathers.
Of feathers.
Yeah, almost no blood, nothing.
And I think if it was our dogs, they wouldn't take it down into the woods. I think it would eat it right here in the yard like it did today.
Yeah.
And she wasn't eating it. She was like licking it. Gross. But it was, ugh.
I wonder what the tax opinion on yurts is. Well, I can tell you what it would be on my county. In my county, if it's under 350 square feet and it's not permanently attached to a foundation, there is no tax.
So a yurt would not be permanently attached because it's
right, stake down.
You take it down.
In most cases, but if you put, like, let's say you put it on a concrete slab or you bolted it permanently or something, maybe. But then where I live, they would not be taxed. Gratitude to Grace says, I need more time before the shit hits fan. We don't have a buyer for a house yet, so we can buy some land. Yep, just keep doing it.
Is your house on the market?
Kim says, the poor won't have a house. They would have them by the balls. The beast, will give him the mark, tell them what to do, tell them where to live, and make more poisoned foods depopulate. I agree with this statement, Kim, 100%. And I think the more slaves they have, the better off that's how they want it, right? They don't want us free thinking people. So I always tell you this YouTube thing's going away, you know, at some point. You know, and I think it's I didn't understand this as a youth, but I understand it more and more as I get older. You know, the inner city, the things that they do in those places, it is systematic slavery.
Yeah.
I mean, it is. I mean, they put every obstacle they can put in front.
They offer it to you like freedom, but it's not.
Well, they say it's freedom because here's this handout or here's this or here's that. But the fact of the matter is, I mean, your dollar ain't worth anything, right? It's worth nothing. And give out all the money they want to give and just keep printing it. Again, I tell people all the time, why do we save money if they're just going to print it? Right? It just makes absolutely no sense. Kim, thanks for the comment. I think that's right on. Going back to my hometown this past week, I saw nothing but government systems promoting government assistance for the poor that gets passed back to the working class through taxes. But they bought 8 new cars for the police in a town of 4,000. Yeah, they did some of that in my
8
county.
new cars.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy? Yeah, it makes me want to move to your county. My county wants me to get a permit and inspection on a pole barn so they can tax me on it. Yeah, this probably will get me in trouble someday, but I don't get permits. So whatever. They can do whatever they want. I'm just going to keep doing what I do. And they advertise free food giveaways. Don't take it. Yeah, no. See, been listed for 4 months and dropped the price twice. Lots of showings, no offers. Just praying it happens soon.
Wow.
But the market's changing, bud. The housing markets are changing fast. It's not the same as it once was. Problem is these interest rates. It was one thing. If you remember when the peak of the housing market thing, interest rates were still way down. You could buy a house on a 3% loan. Did you know the average mortgage rate in the United States of America as of today just crossed over 8%? And so the bare land loan is going to average about 10%, which means
bare land is more.
It's more risk, right? Because it's not a primary residence, right? And so and the feds have signaled they're going to raise it at least one more time this year. So by the end of the year, the average mortgage interest rate is going to be 10%. Watch, mark my words. You guys come back, and if I'm wrong, I will stand and say, hey, I'm not worthy, I'm wrong. But watch. They say the alert is Wednesday, October 4th at approximately 2:20 p.m. Eastern. Right. Right. You don't put that in your calendar? They can spend it faster than we can pay it. Yeah, guys, I'm telling you, money is the land of make-believe. I'm telling you, go back and watch my videos. I can prove it to you. I can absolutely prove it to you. There makes no sense. They got you convinced and they've got you programmed that what you should do is go work 40 years for a company, invest in their systems of 401k, which is IRS code 401-K, right? That's the section of the actual code. Give them your money some more. So work a whole bunch, give them all your money. When you get back, they're going to give you let's say a 10% return on your money. But what you didn't catch was they inflated it all away anyway. And in 4 transactions, they got it all back and it was never worth anything.
Go back to work.
Go back to work. Be a good soldier. That's right. You might actually qualify for a mortgage, but not insurance. 100%.
Oh, that's your sister's birthday.
Now, I'm actually concerned that the banks are going to back out of mortgages pretty quick here, back out of loaning money. There's a lot of banks in big trouble right now. Wells Fargo's in big trouble. Bank of America's in big trouble. Citizens Bank is in big, big, big trouble. And they got into all of these loans back, even all the way back into 2008, right? And they've never done anything to fix the original problem. They're going to get hammered. Absolutely going to get hammered. One more rock says, which is 6:20 Central. That's not 4 hours different. Mm-mm. East Coast? No. If it's East Coast, it'd be 4:20 our time, right?
No.
It's 2 hours. It's 1 hour.
It goes backwards though. For the East Coast, we're behind.
Oh, so it'd be 1:20. 1:20 Central Time, right? Anyway, tag. If you look back, 8% is average. We have gotten spoiled on 0% rates. Well, 8% might be average, but I mean the idea of you can own a home and the American dream and home ownership, you're never going to get there at 8%. And I'm going to tell you something, Brett, you might say that this was average or this was, whatever, but I mean, people are losing their ability to ever achieve, that American dream. Maybe they want to get 8% interest rates. Maybe what they should do is, stop raping us at the prices of everything else. So people can afford it. I mean, I think it's a game to get us all out of ownership and, you're going to own nothing and you're going to be happy. And I'm telling you, I'm not paying 8% for anything. I can assure you that.
The American dream.
Yeah. Leather Homestead said, what would you buy if you had an extra 20,000? That's a good question. If I had an extra 20 grand right now, I'd probably build an extra barn or maybe start your Wallapini. Right. Cause that'll be about 20 grand to put in. Right.
You think?
Yeah. Oh, it'll be expensive. There's a lot of concrete. The good news is, Leather, from my world, is I've got all my water systems in. I got all my power systems. My home is built. My shop is up. The barns are up. The animals are here. The gardens are going. All of that kind of stuff. So my ponds are in. So for me, this would be a luxury. So I think I would probably build Bees Wallapini. Y220, 3 o'clock is break time, laugh out loud. Yeah. Brett, I thought about that, but everything is so much more expensive than it was when the rates were that high before. Yeah, that's kind of what I was saying, Gratitude, is that, they convinced, girls back in the 60s that, free love and independence and women's lib and all of these things were best. And all it did is divide us as a family. And they did it to get more workers into the workforce so they could collect more tax revenue, all the while destroying the family and taking away really what I think makes a woman such a beautiful creature to begin with. And they did it systematically. They did it on purpose. And we fell for it, hook, line, and sinker. And Todd says 320 Central. That's what I thought, 320. Because we're
No, Vicky says 120
oh my
Central.
goodness. Yeah. Let me see here. Yeah, justiceless system. It is a justiceless system.
Justiceless.
Vicky says yes, 120. Let me see. We should stop buying $6 lattes and $40,000 to $60,000 cars on 6-year terms. But what are you going to buy, Brett? And I agree with the $6 lattes, right? Because I can cup of folders or whatever is perfectly fine. However, the 40,000, 60,000 cars, you can't hardly buy a car for that anymore.
You buy a used car?
I have a 2016 F-150. That's my truck that I drive every single day, and I paid $47,000 for it, brand new. My exact truck today is $80,000. And it ain't anything
brand
special.
New?
Yeah. It ain't anything special. It's a V8 4-wheel drive extended cab, half-ton pickup.
Half-ton.
Yep. Solar panels and water storage. Yeah, that's always a good one. Yeah. Todd says, sorry, it is 120. Yeah. We are a spend people. We need to stop by what we can't pay cash. Well, except again, the problem is they've systematically put us in a place where you can just never catch up. Very few people can have, it's so crazy to me as I think about it. And the people that I know, most people I know will never own their home. They'll never own it because what they'll do is they'll live in it on average 7 years and they'll go buy another home for 30 years. And they'll live in 7 years and they think they're building equity, which
that's what they're taught.
Not. They're not.
They're taught that they do.
Yes, 120. Yeah, at $2,000 till you can buy a better one. Stop being a slave to the banks. Yep. No, that I agree with. And I do agree with spending within your means. I do agree with all of those things. But there's more than just Americans making bad decisions here. There's systematic pressures that make it easy for Americans to make bad decisions. And then we educate them in an educational system that teaches them those are good decisions. Because how many times have you heard people say what you need to do is you need to invest. And what you need to do is you need to save money, which both of those things are beneficial, right? They just keep printing it. They don't care. Markets are completely rigged and completely controlled.
No.
Yeah. I have to build an above ground basement. My plan was to build 2 floors on top of that. Is it possible to build 1 floor at a time, or is it a bad idea? You can do it. The only challenge, Kelly, is that once the weather hits, you build 1 floor, now you're exposed, right? And that material will only last so long exposed to the elements.
Why do you have to build an above ground basement?
She's probably because she's too close to the water table. Right. My 2022 Subaru Forester was about $38,000. I almost choked, but I don't see me getting rid of this thing. We have, I think, 1.6% interest, and I pay over the note each month. Yeah. Well, now add where that interest rate's 10%. Ooh. Yeah. The USA is a consumption country by over 70%, I believe. That is correct.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And we need to learn to do for ourselves and stop listening to what they tell us because they're not giving you good advice. And I get emails every day, move your car note to us and save thousands, and they're offering like 5-6%. Yeah. Drive it till it dies.
Instead of 1.6.
Oh,
no thanks. I'll keep the 1.6.
Pete says a laser is also fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, because their water level's high. Yeah. Hey, what's up, Mr. Rain? Long time no talk.
Howdy.
All right, let's go on to the next one. Ready? What's this one say? This one was super interesting. Did you guys know that the Biden administration seeks to remove medical bills from credit reports? So Biden is proposing that people who are behind on medical bills, people who have medical bills, those medical bills cannot affect credit reports. So I know a lot of people
paying them. Is that what they're suggesting?
No, they want them to pay them. It just won't hurt your credit if you don't. So what do you think about this?
Then why pay it?
Exactly. B is a winner.
What I win?
So, but what does that do if you just quit paying it? What's the outcome of that?
Then maybe like Tylenol at the hospital would be less than $75
If you
a tab.
quit, so you think if we quit paying our medical bills, the cost
Maybe
of
they
Tylenol?
would. Maybe they would learn their lesson.
So you think the cost? You think that by
No,
not paying,
all the prices are going to go up because that $75 Tylenol that somebody else didn't pay for is now going to be $300 for somebody else.
I think that's true, and I also think that the debt on medical bills isn't owned by the hospital.
The hospitals, yeah, they are. Why wouldn't they be
owned by a bank? Just like when you buy a car, just like when you buy anything else, there's banks out there that have invested in all of that stuff. So what happens is when they begin to quit paying on it, the banks are no longer going to know who to trust. So when you go to borrow money for a car, and because you can't include the medical bills and you can't include that stuff in there anymore, just like the student loans, right? Forgiving the student loans. Then the banks are going to get skittish, which means they're going to want to charge more money to even those who didn't have medical bills. Right? Absolutely crazy. I'm driving my Subi till it turns to dust, then sweep up the dust and drive the dust. Yep. I know a family that built a shell house with a basement and finished out the house so they could afford it. Yep. That's what I would do. Actually, I'm building the back into a hill. The other 3 sides are above ground.
Oh.
Why do people have to pay property tax on a vehicle that the bank owns? So there's a couple interesting words in this. The first word is have, right? Why do we have to?
Why do we have to pay?
Right.
So we can have roads.
Yeah. Why don't the bank pay the property tax? They own it. That's her point. Why are you making property tax payments on something you don't own?
Because you're driving it. It's like layaway.
It's because you borrowed the money to purchase it, but you purchased it. It's your property. Until you don't pay for it, then it's not your property,
All right. Then they'll come and take it.
Yeah, Dana got it exactly. The banks won't trust it anymore. Ding, 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 ding. Yep, 100%. They've changed medical billing. You used to owe the hospital, doctor, et cetera, but now they make you get what they call a care credit, which is a standard credit card. See, and now they're going to pass that savings from the poor onto the middle class, babe. This is class warfare. It's a wealth transformation, right? You're moving wealth from one class to another class. It absolutely keeps us divided. Yeah, put everything in a trust, don't own anything, and let them sue. I know a lot of people who go down that road. Lots and lots. Hospitals will go out of business. Yep. Rick says, what are medical bills? Well, I'm glad you don't know.
Yeah.
Faith says, hospitals built the non-payment into their expense. You really think a Tylenol is $50 each? Right. Yeah, Tag, are you going to introduce me to the Kansas Terminator? I am in the video when it comes out. I have not seen her in here tonight, but if I see her, I'll make sure I point her out. Yeah, own nothing and be happy. Yeah, roads were supposed to get paid for by gas tax.
Oh.
They were. That was true. They were. And income tax wasn't even a thing. And when income tax came, it was only supposed to be temporary.
I remember that.
Yep. Well, you can't. It was like 50 years ago.
I remember. Yes, I remember the day that they talked about it.
Yeah. See, I read that now the government is not paying for the vaccine anymore, and the insurance companies are having to pay for it. People are having trouble getting scheduled to get vaccinated. And how lucky they are. We will die at home, no bills. I even have my grave dug. Oh my goodness. Now that's prepared. In Texas, personal property like cars are not taxed under property tax. Yeah, but from what I understand, Vicki, and correct me if I'm wrong, if you look at the total tax rate of Texas, it's very comparable to the total tax rate of any other state. You know, yours is, you don't have any property tax, but you have more of this tax or whatever it is. But I read an article once that was comparing them all, and it was all about the same. I have many thoughts about medical expenses and medical in general and how the entire system is, oh, I'm not going to get started. I'm supposed to be packing, laugh out loud. Yeah, income tax was to pay for World War I. The CDC has added the C vaccine to the childhood vaccine schedule.
No.
Yep.
Did you know that?
I did know that. Yep.
Wow.
I shall not comply. I can tell you that.
Good thing you have all your childhood vaccines.
Right.
Do you have a scar?
I have a scar from the ones I got when I was in the military.
Like from when you were a little kid. I have one on my ankle.
I have one on my arm
from my vax.
from standing in the vaccine lines in the military. What do we got next? We'll just roll.
And my mom has one on her arm that matches on my ankle.
Mhm.
The little circle.
You see this one, baby? So here's weekly gas and diesel prices, and prices are going up a lot. But what I found interesting about this, and I actually read some reports that diesel was over $7 now in California.
Ooh.
Right. So gasoline, let's just look at gasoline, all grades. The average in America is $5.08 on the 14th and $5.65 today. Right. That's 12 days.
No, this is August.
8/14.
And that's 9/18.
So 9/11. Okay. So let's just say 9/11 to 9/18. So a week.
Yeah. They've got it
31 cents.
Yep.
In a week. And diesel, look at this, $6.19.
On highway, all types.
Yep. Got a great corner on my own land, legal in Tennessee. She has a smallpox vaccine scar.
Is it a circle?
Yeah. Brett Boyd, different ways to look at all your stuff in a trust. Own nothing and be happy. Oh, Squatchy. I like that. You'll own nothing and be happy because we put it in trusts. I have a smallpox vaccine scar. What is the benefit to a gravesite on your property? I'm not sure. I thought
you were not allowed to bury a human on your property.
State by state. Like apparently in Tennessee you can. Yep, it's well over $6 in Washington State for diesel, and the brokers don't want to pay a fuel surcharge. No. And I think it's going to continue to go up.
Did I tell you when we got concrete last, they gave us, there was a new line, and on there they had like the charge for concrete, then the charge for the fibers, then they have a surcharge, and then they had a fuel charge.
Gratitude to Grace says the vaccine schedule is required for all children going to public school, makes it harder for people to opt out. Opting out of vax means opting out of school, not a bad trade, but hard for some. Well, this is only true if the school follows it, I think is the thing I would say. And if you can get the right people in the right school and you stand up and do, practice that peaceful, disobedience that we talk about, maybe we can make a dent back at it. But yeah, that's crazy. Absolutely crazy. Brett says my daughter is not C-vaxxed, and if I have anything to do with it, she will never be. Eagle says yes. I'm not sure what for, but yeah.
Probably the circle.
Yeah, B says, Mandy says she has one too. Here in Ontario, Canada, our gas is $1.71 a liter. It's crazy how they do that in liters.
Huh, yeah.
Yep, everyone has to get the shots. Well, but the illegals. The town close to me is offering a free phone from the government. Yeah, and if you look down, Mandy, at your cell phone bill, those of us who don't get
the free phone.
On your bill, look down, you'll see what's called the universal cell phone charge. And that was the Obama phone program from a long time ago that they've continued on. Contractors have a fuel surcharge in Washington. So crazy. This whole system is so
The contractors have a fuel charge. So they're charging you to deliver already. And then they have a charge for fuel on top of that.
Yes. Isn't that crazy? Then you have to have a whole system reject it because state and Fed education money is tied to a certain percentage being vaxxed. Learned that 25 years ago with my oldest. No, it's if you go public, that's true. But let's just suppose that there were school administrators out there. Let's just suppose that they existed where they were tired of what was going on and they just turned the other cheek. Didn't say anything. If a family came to them and if a vaccine thing wasn't met, they just turned the other cheek. Maybe we can make a dent. I don't know. Hey, Starla, good evening. Oh, no. Starla says, good evening, folks. Checking in for the hospital once again. What is going on with you? Everything okay? Crazy. I do not have a smallpox vaccine scar, but my niece, who is only 10 months younger, does. Yeah.
10 months younger.
There are state audits, like they check the paperwork. Yeah, well, and I certainly wouldn't recommend breaking any laws. I guess I'll just leave it at that.
Correct.
Going to need to change the word from surcharge to something gender neutral. Yeah. Yeah. If you're vaccinated, so you can't get COVID, why should you care if I'm not vaccinated? they want people like me to die anyway. Yes, they do. There are state audits, like they check. Oh, I did that one already. Sorry, my bad. Got a break on gas tax right now. Hey, the I am of me is in the house. Darn late. Going back to the beginning. Have a great night, folks. Hey, have a good night. I am of me. Good to see you. Yeah. All right, let's look at the next one here, right? There's just some news articles that I found interesting. So this article to me was super fascinating, that the Polish president said that defeating Russia in the Ukraine is the only guarantee of peace. And there's a super interesting article in here where pretty much, and I'm not going to read it word for word, but pretty much what it talks about is that the only way to have world peace now is if they remove Russia. And if you guys remember, I've said many times on this channel that NATO will not allow Russia to win. Now, that's not saying they can stop it, but if they can stop it, they will throw everything at it. And I'm talking about all the way to nuclear. They will throw every single thing at it because America's strength in the world is on the decline. And if the Ukraine loses that war, it will be seen as a further degrading of the American power. And America cannot afford it because they're holding on, to the small thread that they have now. And I think it's just interesting that, speaking in New York City, by the way, was when this went on, the Polish president, who's a NATO member, right, said the only way to guarantee peace is to eliminate Russia. And I find that super, super fascinating. Man, I get a lot of emails on
that. So that was on the 19th.
Yep. NATO. Yep. And guys, it's coming. I'm telling you, I think we're headed crash course to World War III because I don't see either side backing down. Russia and China believe they're completely surrounded. And if you don't think they're completely surrounded, I want you to Google military bases around Russia, and then Google military or U.S. military bases around Russia, and then go Google U.S. military bases around China. What you'll find is we've completely surrounded them. All the way back to the World War II, we promised we wouldn't cross this line, and then we did. And then in the 70s, we said, oh, we won't go any further, but we did. And in the 90s, we said we wouldn't go further, and we did, and we keep doing it. And now they're in a corner. There's nowhere left for them to retreat to. They're not going to back down because they believe this is the last stand to even have a country. America's not going to back down because they're afraid they'll lose their place in the world, which they're going to anyway. Yeah, Brett Boyd said we pay for NATO. You bet we do. Also, Poland has said that they are not giving any more weapons or money to the Ukraine. I have not read that. Because based upon this article that I read, they think we should do more. Again, right, what do you believe?
Right.
RN, good night to you.
Good night.
The head of BlackRock is in Ukraine meeting with Z this week. Well, of course he is. Of course. All right. You got anything you want to talk about on your list before I just keep rambling away? I got a whole bunch more on there. Good for now?
Nope.
All right, let's see what the next article is. This is the one I was telling you about. A woman becomes first human to catch incurable dog disease. Rampaging through the United Kingdom. Anybody hear about this? Incurable dog disease is now sweeping through the Ukraine. I mean, they say it's rampaging, right? Well, what's funny, it was like 4 cases. Isn't that funny how they say it's 4 cases and that they talk about it's rampaging? Anybody see this? Mrs. Gainsborough says probably to make sure they get all the money laundered. Guys, I'm going to tell you something. War is a great place to launder money. Yep, keep throwing money into the Ukraine. We're at war with Russia, unfortunately. We are at war with Russia. And I am telling you guys, somebody's going to have to back down or it's World War III. And I just do not see anybody backing down. The Corbett Report had an interesting podcast on BlackRock. Let's look it up. What about $6 billion we gave Iran for the hostages? What does that tell the other countries? You have to take hostages? Yep.
No, don't.
Do your own research. This war is about Ukraine bombing their own
people. Yeah.
Their other people in 2014. Well, I think it's about way more than that, Brett. I think there's a whole bunch of corruption as to the point you made going on, but it's been made into this whole big old thing about global, standing and all of these things. And I'm telling you, nobody's going to back down. Wants to know, what is it, a parasite? Let me see here.
The dog disease.
That's why I wrote it up here. Let me see here. Grandmother who became the first case of human catching dog disease was confirmed. Symptoms were diagnosed.
You can read that?
I can. Fist to sleep, incurable disease is a bacterial infection. So it's a bacterial infection. I like just pointing out all the diseases because every week when I come up here, I find a new one they're talking about that's, big and bad and ugly. Dana says she's heard 3. Yeah. Anyone that hasn't had their DNA mixed up with dogs is safe. Yet rioters burning cities are peaceful. Yeah. They talk about when a civilization is in its collapse, when it's in the final stages, the laws and the society and the culture become more absurd, right? What about Z saying the U.S. has to send in troops? We are absolutely going to send in troops. And I'll go even further to say they're already there. They're just not talking about them. They had a Black Rock is related to Zelensky. They wanted to join Russia, so UK bombed them out of them. Yeah. New vaccination, Rhonda. That's right. Grumpy says, hey, sorry we're late. I left Grumpy with Billy, Michelle, and the rest of the heathens. Probably smart. That's what I would have left them with too, right? Eagle or something.
Oh, they're
traveling. Yeah. A homesteader is a perfect example of a non-parasite. I could not agree more. Never let an animal lick you in the face. Just think of where their mouth has been.
Yeah.
Isaiah 5:20 says, Rain country, woe unto them that call evil good and good evil, that puts darkness for light and light for darkness, that put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. That's well said. Let's get rid of Grumpy here. What do we got next here on my list? Okay, so hold on here. Crazy mess. I want to know why they tested her for it to begin with, Jesus says.
She was sick, probably.
Yeah, she was sick, but who randomly tests for dog disease? I think it's such a scam. We live in so much fear. Don't buy into the bullshit. I'm not going to. Okay, so last week on Monday night, I went to the county commissioners meeting because they were talking about a proposed budget, and the budget included a raise to the mill levy, which would increase property taxes about 10%. And
just 10%.
Just 10%, right? And so we had a big old meeting, and everybody stood up. I stood up and talked for a little while, and we were talking about, I told them, I said, guys, look, times are tough for everybody. Maybe that new equipment you need can hold off for another year. Now's not the right time. Inflation is hurting people. And the county said, look, we're hurting. It's hurting us. Inflation is killing us. We've got to make it up somewhere. And I said to one of the county commissioners, I said, so let me make sure I got this right. The decision's already been made. We're just here for style points, right? And he said, yes, that's correct. And so I stood up and left and walked out. Yoda was there in the meeting. Hitch was there in the meeting. Some other people from our community was there in the meeting. But I'm going to tell you guys something, and this was hard for me to swallow, but I'm going to tell you something. The people don't matter in there. Guys, I live in the ruralest county out there, right? And we are rural. We are all ag, and it just absolutely didn't matter. They had already made the decision. They were holding the meeting because they're legally bound to hold the meeting. But I'll tell you something funny that I thought was interesting that came out of it. Let me get a couple comments real quick. City and counties got drunk with our money. Yeah, and this is something that COVID did. This is a side effect of COVID. They flushed everything with money. Then they started spending according to the money that was coming in. The COVID money dries up, and then, here they are. Aren't you all property tax voted on? Certain millage for certain things. Library. Okay, so we do vote on it. Actually, the state sets a minimum, okay, or a maximum, right? That like 66 mills or whatever it is. They set a limit. But to go over that, you have to have a public hearing, which this is what they were doing. They had the public hearing. We just didn't have a say in it. Now, here's the good news. We'll get them all kicked off next election cycle, and we'll go right back at it. But the fact is they didn't care, not one bit. There's nothing more permanent than a temporary government program or a tax hike. Yeah, but there was an interesting thing that came out of it. So one of the commissioners said to me, looked me right in the face and said, if you don't like it, form your own township. And I don't, I know this guy and I know him, pretty well, but I thought to myself, I wonder what that would take. And so I thought I would share with you guys what it takes to build your own township. I think it's interesting. So this is the actual document from Kansas where I live. And this just talks about the things that you have to do to actually build them. And so basically what it comes down to, in my opinion, is you got to be able to maintain the roads in the township, and you got to be able to enforce the traffic laws in your township. And so obviously you're going to have to be collecting some kind of revenue, right, via taxes, because how would you pay to maintain the roads, and how would you pay to maintain
an officer
in that particular district? But so I'm in the process right now of going through each one of these, rules, I guess, that we have to play by to see if any of them apply. But, some of it's interesting. Like this one right here says grants the trustee custody and disposition of the property of the township. Requires the trustee to remove road obstructions where the road overseer refuses or fails to do so. Requires the trustee to make a verified annual statement. Requires us to care for any abandoned cemetery. Maintenance of the existing cemeteries, establish recreational facilities, operating and maintaining a fire department.
Eesh.
Yeah, right. Holding a trust. All property of the city has become dormant by registration or vacation of all city offices. So anyway, there's another one. Maintain emergency medical services. So basically what he was telling me was just to piss off.
Right. Yeah. Gee,
Right.
Thanks for your help.
Yeah, he was saying go away, because the fact of the matter, what it would take to do that.
Millions.
Yeah, absolutely crazy. You see here, my dog lick my cuts when I work and get skint all the time. I should be dead. There's nothing more we already did that one. Okay, Amy B says, Tag, have you heard or precious metal dealers having their bank accounts being closed without notice to make it more difficult to invest in S&G metals? I have not heard anything about that. They have to spend the current year's budget so they can get higher allocations for the next fiscal year. If they don't, they will not get more Fed tax dollars. Well, what's interesting about that? One of my buddies, Hitch, stood up and asked the guys, where does it end? My homeowners, my personal property tax has gone up every year I've lived here. Every single year gone up, just a little here, a little there, a little here, a little there. And he asked, and they did not have an answer for him. MEB says happened to 2 in Chicago and 2 in Ohio. I did not hear that. I'll have to see if I can find that. Says Tag, you would be sheriff to make sure everyone behave.
No, he doesn't have time to be no
Oh
sheriff.
my goodness. Yeah.
He has community to build.
She's talking about other township.
Yeah, you gotta. How can you be a sheriff if you're out running all over festivals?
Yeah, Hippocrates says, who says it has to be paid? Maintaining can be done in volunteer work.
Yeah.
Law enforcement officer may need to be certified, but doesn't have to be paid. People confuse getting something done with using money to do it. Well, except they say things like maintaining a fire department.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, that you're maintaining equipment, right? That equipment takes money unless people are willing to donate it. But Hippocrates, this is a super good point. This is part of the reason why I'm going through the rules. I want to see what it would actually take. When you get off the surface.
Yeah, wouldn't that be nice if this guy was all like, man, go form your own township, and you did, and you were like, here's my township.
Wouldn't that be funny?
That would be pretty.
Yeah, it'd be pretty funny. Hey, good night, Leather. My friend runs an independent department on a college campus, and they have to spend all of their money every year. That's ridiculous. She tries hard to get the smaller things done every year, so they will need a bigger budget when the money's there. Yep, a lot of things is just spending money games. Of course it is. Yep. Oh. Anyway, I thought that was super fascinating. What's my next article here? Let's see what else we got here. Well, this was interesting. So the extremists keep trying to trigger mass blackouts, right? And if I remember right, this was, let me get rid of this.
And that's not even the scariest part.
Yeah, this is from the Associated Press, right? And that's not even the scariest part. So apparently in Baltimore, there's been a bunch of potential hacks to the power grid. And I found this was interesting because of the next one on here. So it comes from the magazine Wired, which is a very well-known, fairly prestigious electronics magazine. And it says, here comes the sun, the end of civilization. And this was an article about solar flares. And I thought I'd share some of it with you guys. Oh my goodness. I wonder if I can make this bigger.
Yeah, that's tiny.
So, that's so much better. I'll get back to the comments in a minute. But anyway, it says the sun, and this is the stuff that I wrote down for you guys. But it says the sun has played this game of Russian roulette with the solar system for billions of years, sometimes shooting off several coronal mass ejections in a day. Most come nowhere near Earth. It would take centuries of human observation before someone could stare down the barrel while it happened. Well, at 11:18 a.m. on September the 1st, 1859, Richard Carrington, a 33-year-old brewery owner and amateur astronomer, was in his private observatory sketching sunspots, an important but mundane act of record keeping. That moment, the spots erupted into a blinding beam of light. Carrington sprinted off in search of a witness. When he returned a minute later, the image had already gone back to normal. Carrington spent the afternoon trying to make sense of the aberration. Had his lens caught a stray reflection? Had an undiscovered comet or planet passed between his telescope and a star? While he stewed, a plasma bomb silently barreled towards Earth at several million miles per hour. When the coronal mass ejection comes your way, what matters most is the bullet's magnetic orientation. If it has the same polarity as the Earth's protective magnetic field, you've gotten lucky. The two will repel like a pair of bar magnets placed north to north or south to south. But if the polarity is opposite, they will smash together, and that's what happened on September the 2nd, the day after Carrington saw the blinding beam. Electrical current raced through the sky over the western atmosphere. A typical bolt of lightning registers 300 amps. This geomagnetic storm registered in the millions. As the clock struck midnight in New York City, the sky turned scarlet, shots through the plumes of yellow and orange. Fearful crowds gathered in the streets. Over the Continental Divide, a bright white midnight aurora roused a group of Rocky Mountain laborers. They assumed morning had arrived and began to cook breakfast. In Washington, D.C., sparks leaped from a telegraph operator's forehead to his switchboard as his equipment suddenly magnetized. Vast sections of the nascent telegraph system overheated and shut down. The Carrington event, as it's known today, is considered a once-in-a-century geomagnetic storm, but it took just 6 decades for another comparable blast to reach the Earth. On May 1921, train-controlled arrays in the American Northeast and telephone stations in Sweden caught fire. In 1989, a modern storm, just 1/10 the strength of the 1921 event, left Quebec in the dark for 9 hours after overloading the regional's grid. In each of these cases, the damage was directly proportional to humanity's reliance on advanced technology. More grounded electronics, more risk. Then another big one heads our way, as it could at any time. Existing imaging technology will offer 1 or 2 days notice, but we won't understand the true threat level until the cloud reaches the Deep Space Climate Observatory, a satellite about 1 million miles from Earth. It has instruments that analyze the speed and polarity of the incoming solar particles. If a cloud's magnetic orientation is dangerous, this $340 million piece of equipment will buy humanity, with its 7.2 billion cell phones, 1.5 billion automobiles, and 28,000 commercial aircraft, at most 1 hour of warning before impact. Activity on the solar surface follows a cycle of roughly 11 years, and at the beginning of each cycle, clusters of sunspots form at the middle of latitudes on both solar hemispheres. These clusters grow to migrate towards the equator around the time they're most active, known as the solar maximum. The sun's magnetic field flips polarity, the sunspots wane, and the solar minimal comes. Then it happens all over again. I don't know why it took 160 years of cataloging data to realize this, says Scott McIntosh, a blunt-speaking Scottish astrophysicist who served as the deputy director of the U.S. Center of Atmospheric Research. If it hits you right, it will hit you right in the fucking face. I found that interesting. I got that. There we go.
And where was this?
This was an article that came out in the Wired day before yesterday, and I had a buddy who sent it to me. So I thought it was super fascinating. It's just talking about solar flares, right?
Which you know quite a bit about.
Which I know quite a bit about, right? All right, here we go. Tonight, Sean said he locked his land at 8.9% interest, down from 9.1 originally quoted. That's a throwback rate. Yeah, so it's all over 8 now. It's going to be 10 soon.
Gosh.
Ask why the media is suddenly pushing the idea of solar storms, trying to maybe get people to believe the sun is what's cutting them off, not the government. That's a great theory. Right? How much did that transaction cost? See, Brett says, oh my gee, we were going to the solar flare again. Does anyone see a fear factor of what is spewed society is the real problem, not climate? Well, the thing is about a solar flare, Brett, and I can tell you this with 100% certainty, we will continue to get hit with solar flares. It's not a matter of if, it's just when it happens and which one. We get hit with them all the time. It's for sure, but they do like to use these things as fear to keep us scared. Because if we're scared, we're dependent and we're compliant. Right. I agree with that 100%. Let me see here. That's not to me. Kelly says we have so much great things to look forward to. Here's the thing, though. You can prepare for most of these things, right? You can be ahead of the game, but don't live in fear, guys. I share these things with you because I find the articles interesting. Seriously, that's why I do it.
And because I don't see them.
Yeah, and it gives me the chance to go through what happened during the weekend. I don't really look for the mainstream news too much. I look for the weird oddball articles because I find them most interesting.
That are fascinating.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, we're at 2 hours.
Or sometimes it's like we find things out that we're like, oh.
Yeah.
Like.
You want to talk about an interesting one we found out today?
You talking about the
Indian reservation?
Yeah.
Okay, so
that's what I was thinking.
I'm not going to mention the people, but we have some buddies of ours who just had a well dug, and they waited on the list for 5 months. And so the well people come out and they dig a hole and they don't hit any water. So they move over, try to find a hole, don't hit any water. Well, they live down by an Indian reservation. And the well guy was saying that in that particular part of the county, there's not a lot of wells. And that when the government assigned that reservation, they purposely gave them the part of that county that really didn't have a lot of water. And I told B this, and your reaction was,
doesn't that figure?
Yeah, doesn't
They
that
probably already
figure?
knew that. They probably already knew that there was no water aquifer there.
Yep.
So they were gifted this land.
Yeah, what a crock, huh? Anyway, I'm not
Just
going to
one
mention
more
it.
like.
Yeah, I'm not going to mention who it is, but we're trying to help them now to find, a better piece of land that maybe would have a little bit of water, because water is so critical. We don't want to have to ask permission for things. And so anyway, I'll keep you posted on that journey. Here's another interesting I thought I'd share with you guys real quick, and I think this might be my last slide, which would be really cool. So I was reading a bunch of articles about, I ran across a bunch of stores that were in trouble. So I thought I'd share some of them with you.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah, so Christmas tree shops, which I never even heard of, but apparently they're pretty big in a lot of places, are closing 70 stores are in active liquidation. Mm-hmm. Rite Aid plans to file bankruptcy and will close 700 stores, and they're facing over 1,000 lawsuits for prescription drug abuse.
Holy smokes.
TJ Maxx sales have fallen. They blame Americans for not spending. $700 million in losses, and stores are closing. Nike is closing stores, blames theft, which I found this interesting, that they are the number 2 only behind Target in retail theft. Target's number 1. Walmart will close 24 more stores, blames poor sales. And this I found interesting too. Some of their stores, they're going to begin closing at 9 p.m. to prevent theft.
They're going to close this, you mean for the night?
For the night.
And then reopen in
the
the
next morning. Yep.
So they're not open 24 hours. They're going to just close at 9
to prevent
wow.
theft.
Wow. Shoplifting must happen after 9.
Well, a lot of the hooligans come out after dark, right? I mean, Joann Fabrics will close stores, lost $200 million in 2022, lost $127 million so far in 2023 with $1 billion in debt.
Ooh.
Party City has filed bankruptcy. Best Buy is closing 47 stores, layoffs announced. Boston Market is closing store, blames customer spending and inflation. Bye Bye Baby, which was owned by Bed Bath & Beyond, who's in a whole bunch of trouble. They didn't make this list, but they are. Sold for $15.5 million and will close 100 stores.
Wow. Bye Bye Baby closed in Topeka.
Yep. Journeys
closed.
Yep, will close 100 stores, blames consumer demand. Sales were down 13%. Shoe City closing this year, filed for bankruptcy, closing every store after being open for 74 years.
Wow.
Foot Locker stock is down 30%, blames customer spending, closing 400 stores, $200 million in losses.
So they're saying that the customers are not spending enough.
Yep.
Right? That's what they're saying.
That's
They're
what they're saying.
blaming customer spending, and that's customers not spending enough.
Yep. This one I didn't see coming either, but Tuesday Morning filed for bankruptcy. They have 487 stores and will close all of them.
Yeah, they closed their Topeka store too.
Yep. Yeah. Isn't that crazy? Yep, that's the last of my slides. Anyway,
That what like TJ Maxx was it? TJ Maxx lost $700 million.
yeah, that's a lot of freaking money. Now, I don't know if the country will come in and do a big bailout for a lot of these or how it will happen, but instead of watching the news, which I don't watch very often, CNN and MSNBC and Fox, I like to read the financial reports and, you know, what's kind of going on. Don't make it true, but, you know, whatever it is, you know, I predict 13% interest by the end of 2024. Yeah, I actually think that's probably conservative, Grumpy. Oh, yeah, Kelly Allen says, oh, no, not Joanne Fabrics.
Yeah.
Brett says, tag, I don't disagree, but I'm 58. All of these things they keep saying, I think I'm on the third or fourth round of hearing it. Sounds like an old story, Chicken Little, but society is going south. Brett, I could not agree with you more. And I tell people all the time, and I tell you, and I think this is what you're saying, we don't live in fear. We just go on. But I think instead of listening to the talking heads about what they're doing, just do our own research. This is why I like the obscure articles, because I think it paints a picture. I do not think this is the end of the world. I think it's the change to a new world. And the new world is going to be social credit scores. The new world is going to be wokeism. The new world is going to be these things. Or the American people are going to stand up and that new world is going to be full of liberty. But either way, it's not the end of the world. This world will continue long after I'm dead.
Living in a new world.
Yeah. Is Twitter changing to X? I don't know. I heard them talk about that, but I don't know. Everything that's happening is all by design and intentional. It's not an accident. I totally agree.
Yeah.
Oh, here's the gold star. Farm Ranch Homestead says nobody's buying brand name shoes. Did you notice how many shoes were on that list?
I didn't.
Oh, yeah.
They were all shoes.
No,
they weren't all
shoes. But look, you've
Foot
got
Locker,
Nike.
Well, TJ Maxx sells shoes.
Journeys probably does too. Shoe City and Foot Locker.
Journeys, Shoe City, Foot Locker.
Isn't that crazy? Yeah, pretty cool. All right, what else you got on your list?
I don't have anything else on my list. I was culling chickens.
You were culling chickens.
I actually was.
So we're 2 hours and 11 minutes in. What do you want to end with? What's inspired you this week? What do you want to talk about? You knew I was going to ask that question, didn't you?
I did, but community, nobody's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Be tolerant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, tolerance is good. And I think we're all different human beings.
Isn't that the truth?
Yeah.
Thank goodness.
Right. You know, for me, I think what I'd like to end with tonight is that, you know, let's not lose track of our mental health through this whole process. Right. We move off grid. We build community. We go do all of these things. And it's like the community event. We go out and build houses and, we do all of those things. But the truth is what came out of it was so much more than a house. It's being able to hang around like-minded people and be able to feel, somewhat normal, like we're not crazy for wanting to depend upon ourselves. And so look for those opportunities to get that head medicine, right?
Head medicine.
Yeah.
Your head fix.
Yeah. Get your head fixed and get it, squared on straight. When I'm tired or burned out, which I get, guys, it's funny. I was talking to, Indiana, when times are frustrating, it's okay to throw your hammer. Don't throw it at somebody. My point is, it's okay to throw it down and walk off, say, I need a 5. It's okay, right? We all get frustrated, but we got to be there for each other. And this is why community is so important. So I think, my parting words to you guys tonight is go seek community. And I'm telling you guys, the ability to work together as a team, the ability to do for ourselves is critical. As we transition from one normal world to whatever the next normal world is, I can assure you that we're going to need each other.
Be tolerant of that.
Yeah. And be tolerant of that. We're all flawed, right?
Yeah. We don't see it the same way.
Mm-hmm. And that's okay. Probably makes us stronger.
If you're tolerant.
Right.
Because the opposite is not pleasant to be around.
Well, I promise you there's more that connects us than what divides us. But hey, guys, with all that said, we're going to get out of here. It was 2 hours and 14 minutes. Love you guys. And we'll see you on the next live. Don't forget the community video is going to come out sometime next week. I'll try to get it finished up this weekend sometime. Probably come out maybe Monday. And we'll see what we go from there. I'm going to go to an auction. I'm going to film it for you guys so you guys can see that auction. And I filmed B ahead of the auction going through everything. as she's weird. But anyway, till then, I guess till we do it again. What do you got to say?
Hold the line.
Don't give an inch. Tag out.
Be out.
See you guys. Good night, everybody.